Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Spawncast episode 252. We're missing NVG. He'll be back next weekend.
I'm right here, mate. What are you?
We're not missing
about?
the bucket hat. Sean showing up with the ghost bucket hat. How we doing, Sean? RGT85.
Doing all right. Working on a new tech video for Monday. Taking a look at the inside of a PS2. It's going to be a really good video, mate.
I was kind of hoping you do the British accent instead.
That was already way better than my impersonation. Like, just right there. Like, way better.
We have Miss Click.
Hi, Tack. Do you want to say something? No, he says nothing. It probably would be mean, but I'm good. Hi, guys. Good to be here.
We got OJ Player Essence. How we doing, OJ?
Doing pretty good. Thanks for everybody that came out to the Spawncast pre-show. Had another really good show. So, got everybody hyped. So, that was fun.
Awesome. We have Jordan Fringe. Jordan, how we doing?
Going on? Glad to be here.
Perfect topic for Jordan tonight with Pokemon Legends Arceus. That should be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan's a bit bouncier today. Have you guys noticed that? He's bouncing around.
He's ready. And we got Max, Dreamcast guy. How we doing, Max?
Addicted to Pokemon like everybody else. Good.
Awesome. We are going to talk about Pokemon Legends Arceus tonight. We also have PlayStation in 2022 because I said we would eventually talk about that. I figured Sony's probably going to be talking here pretty soon, so we might as well try to talk a bit about that beforehand. Then I threw in Metroid Prime 4 in Retro Studios because, well, they're looking for help, so I figured there was a whole listing on that seemed to get a lot more conversation going than I thought. And actually, we haven't talked about Metroid Prime 4 in a while, so I figure we could get into that one. We'll start a Discord question, Evan.
What games that you yourself enjoyed but is most commonly disliked, complained, or bashed on the internet?
Oof.
What game do I like that's bashed on the internet?
Yeah.
Every Pokemon game.
I'm gonna say Jedi Outcast because Nate had to start that all up.
Say
and Sean.
There's that Godzilla game that came out a couple years ago. Like everybody says it's terrible. I love it. It's the same level over and over again. You just punch nuclear reactors. It's so fun. You just literally walk into town punching people. It's so fun.
Pokemon Mystery Dungeon on the Switch.
Oh,
That game is terrible.
It's not. It's so good.
I know everyone hates Star Ocean 4. People on the 360.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody
yeah.
really dislikes that game. And I played that when I was in college and I thought it was good. And I thought everybody else thought it was good. And then I started getting into the internet and I'm like, oh, everybody thinks this game sucks.
I think for me, it's definitely going to be Metroid Other M.
I knew you were going to say Other M.
For sure. We know how that went. I love it. The amount of bullshit that she went through, and then we get to see the end of Dread. No spoilers, but to see the character arc of everything she's gone through to all that rage, it's just chef's kiss.
Dread's like Other M's like an asterisk though, because it's like there's certain things, there's like little things that why people, not that like the concept is bad or anything, it's just like little things that they just don't like, you know?
Yeah.
So I always put like an asterisk next to that.
I feel like it's a whole personalization of people envision a character, and when it comes out completely different than how you imagine, it's like you can't be like that because I didn't want you to be. So
exactly. Or it's like the controller,
argument.
right? Like I have big old huge basketball player hands,
the controller
and you can only use the D-pad.
Yeah,
so it's like little things that that's the reason why. But I think the concept is cool. Like it was cool though. Like when you first saw it, that game looked amazing.
One of the prettiest games on the Wii for sure.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Got another Discord question, Evan?
Is there a game that you really liked but had to stop during the course of playing it and haven't been able to get back to it yet?
Legends Arceus. No,
That's it for me. Tales of Arise, and I still have not finished. I really want to, but Dragon Quest 11, I got about 40 or 50 hours in, and it's just so big. And I hear the post game is even better, but I think I'm gonna start over.
Hit me with
Switch.
both of them. I'm still stuck on Tales of Arise. I'm in the end game or post game stuff in Tales of Arise now, where you max out your characters and you do all of these things, and it's actually there's like a whole dungeon at the end of the game where you just go through the different floors and get everyone's ultimate weapons and stuff. It's good.
People aren't finishing that. That game's crusty at times. Tales of Arise. I think it's a little crusty. It's too easy. It's a little crusty. I can see why Max fell off of it. I can see why.
It gets harder. It's harder towards the end.
I was enjoying, but I feel like it gets so deep at a certain point, and some of the cutscenes are so long that after a while I'd like sit down and watch like a 30-minute cutscene. I'm like, all right, I don't even want to play. I'm done for the day.
They
Gotcha.
talk a lot. They talk.
They do talk a lot. There's a lot of
They're-
talking and exposition,
They never shut the hell up. And I started playing it after SMT5, where they don't talk at all. So
Yeah.
I'm in
they don't
the-
ever say anything.
Yeah, I'm in
so.
the end game part now. It's 55 hours, I think, is what I'm into it.
That's nice. It's still a good game though. It's still a good game. Yeah.
I think 3 Houses. I gotta get back. I definitely gotta get back to that one because there's a lot of stuff surrounding that right now. But yeah, I didn't get to finish all the houses, and I love the game, so it's like really, I'm torn on it.
Wait, but you beat one house though, right?
Oh yeah, I beat one house for sure, but I want to like do all the routes,
Oh, okay.
just in case. So
Yeah,
you
you should go back to Dragon Quest 11 though, Max. That is an awesome RPG, and it's probably gonna be the last traditional Dragon Quest game, like
Well,
RPG wise, because it sounds like they're gonna change that thing all up.
dang.
I bought it specifically on Nintendo Switch. I don't remember why. OJ did some tweet talking about. I saw him
Dragon Quest
reply to
11
somebody.
S.
Yeah, and he talks about Dragon Quest 11S, and so I specifically bought it. I think it was on sale on Black
It's a
Friday.
good handheld game. Very good handheld game.
And that was my plan. I love RPGs on the Switch. Feel like that's what it's made for.
Yep,
You
works
can
really well.
get it, Max. I mean, you probably don't want to start over, but I know you like playing on PlayStation a lot. But like, it's pretty good now. Like when I made that tweet, that was because the S version was exclusive to Switch, and it was so much better with the music. But now at this point, you might want to pick it up on PS5, play it backwards compatibility.
I have it both. Yeah. Well, so
Okay.
yeah. Full disclosure: Sony sent it to, or they sent it to me on Xbox, and they sent it to me on PlayStation, and I bought it on Switch. And now I kind of want to play it on Switch just so I can play it on handheld.
Yeah, it's also if you have an Xbox out there, it's also on Game Pass for anyone who hasn't checked it out before. So you can check it out there too. Just trying to get people to play Dragon Quest 11 because it's a very good game. Very good game. It is kind of a shame it never made its way over here on the 3DS. That would have been kind of cool. But check it out. Check it out. Definitely. Anyone listening who haven't
The
yet.
S version had the 3DS stuff in there.
Yeah, but
3DS stuff.
I kind of would have liked it just on the 3DS itself, just to pick that copy up.
Like those graphics and all that. Like the graphics. Yeah. That
I
was
don't
a
know.
collector's
That'd
item
be
for
kinda
sure.
Yeah, that'd been kind of cool.
Yeah.
Oh well. All right, let's talk about Legends Arceus. A lot to go over with here. It came out on Friday. Oh, actually, you know what? I'm sorry. It came out like a week ago. We just all got it late apparently because there's been gameplay footage online for how long now? This game leaked forever ago, it feels like, but it finally came out. And even then, it seemed like it just leaked out. People just walking around with physical copies of the game. Like, I don't know. I don't know where these places are. I don't know if people are buying this stuff from, but everyone's finding these games early.
Yep.
So Bob's walking down the street in New York, coming back with like boxes of Pokemon Legends Arceus and stuff. But anyway, it's out.
John had it early too.
He had like
Austin
7
John- he got
copies.
a bunch of early copies.
Yeah.
Everyone had this thing early. I don't know. Maybe I need to go out and look for this stuff, but then you got to go outside, and that's a whole thing too. It snowed here. It snowed a lot here.
Oh,
It's cold. It's like 15 degrees outside right now, and
That's true. That's true.
it's
It's
snowed
11.
outside.
It's 11 here.
I had to shovel the dry. I do all kinds of shoveling today. It was a whole
11
thing.
God, frozen tundra. What the hell?
I was
it's
out
cold
shoveling in my
outside.
shorts. It was great.
60 degrees here. It's nice.
Yeah, I'll take that. It's 55 here, so I'll take
Anyway.
that, man.
Anyway, Legends Arceus is out. I think most of us played it. I think Evan's the only one who didn't play it. I think, right? Everyone else
Yeah.
at least has some experience. You watch gameplay. Okay, so we all have experience with it. Some of us did videos on it so far. So what do we think of Legends Arceus? Game Freak taking a shot at something completely different with the Pokemon franchise.
I'd say it's my favorite game of the year so far.
Okay, that's pretty good.
It's a good step. It's not fully there, but it's a good step. It's for me, and a lot of people are gonna hate me. I think it's the most fun I've had with a Pokemon game. And like for me personally, like I'm not a die-hard Pokemon since I was from the womb playing, but it's the most fun I've had as a Pokemon game. It changes it up just enough, but sometimes it feels like it could be more.
Okay.
PlayStation is doomed. Xbox is the king.
What?
I got him.
There was a guy spam.
I do want to say some of the small stuff that seems so tiny is my favorite thing about it. Like, I love that battles just start. Like, I cannot overstate how much I like that you see a Pokemon and you throw a ball and the fight just starts. None of that introduction, none of the animal making stupid noises. Just, hey, there's a Pokemon, beat his fucking ass.
I think the best part about this game is that it all flows together really well. So like you said, you either catch a Pokemon, you don't go into a battle to catch the Pokemon, you just throw a ball at it, and
snappy.
it catches it. You go into the battle, you're out of the battle quickly. There's no like whole animation load screen, hang on a second, then you're in kind of thing, and then menu system, and then it's just very quick. It's the one to the next to the next to the next, and that actually gets a little dangerous, I'll admit, because you don't have that moment of stopping and then being like, oh, okay, I guess I'll call it here. You just kind of keep going, and this is like one of those games that like has you time traveling a bit, where you look over and you're like, oh, it's been like 4 hours since I started playing this game.
Yep.
I saw a lot of people on Twitter that was like, I played Legends Arceus for like 12 hours straight. It's just consistent. It's just constantly moving along, which is good. Although first hour of that game is very tutorial heavy. It is like guided, and there's a lot of dialogue boxes popping up, Jordan. A lot of silent dialogue boxes.
Yeah, the game, it's fast paced. I think it fixes a lot of the drag issues some may have, just trying to get through, you know, all the little extra steps to get into a battle, to speak with someone. The biggest problem, though, aside from the environments being bland for the most part, is the lack of actual voice acting. And it was okay and in the other Pokemon games, it felt like, because it's on the handheld, but now this is such a different, bigger departure, and there's so many important story beats and all these characters talking, and there's these intense moments, and they're talking about important stuff, and they're just sitting there quietly moving their lips. And it's you know, even if it was just like that bare minimum RPG where just like like a noise, just something, and then it just said, just give me something instead of just this blank nothingness. That is the biggest annoyance in the game. Everything else is fun. It's fast. I like catching. It flows really nicely, and you can just lose hours and hours going through and just going in these areas and catching Pokemon or battling or getting your expedition, you know, stats up. But there's just like those little things that it's like, we're so close to making the perfect game that you were going here for. Maybe the next one, because you have the blueprint now, maybe this next one, and I hate that every Pokemon game, it's always like, it's the next one that they're going to do it. But hopefully the next one just, you know, puts the little flourishes on it to make it perfect.
It's funny you say that, Jordan, because we were just talking about Tales of Arise. Dude, like everything is voiced in that game. It's like all these conversations they're having. It's just like, it's constant, like how much stuff is voiced in that game, and it's completely different when I went to Pokemon, because I'll jump between the two, and it's just like one is just silent, and you can set up the story, I think, better, so it's more impactful with actual voice acting, and the production value is better there, the presentation. So yeah, that I think would be the next big step for Game Freak, because I noticed I wasn't really expecting much of a story in this game. Like usually the Pokemon games I go through, it's like, all right, get the badges, become the ultimate Pokemon master. There's like some strange stuff going on in this game that they're trying to set up with like this mystery of like the crack in the sky and all these things, right? So they're trying to build up an actual story here with different characters. It just feels kind of hollow right now because the lack of voice acting or attention to detail for that.
It's cool that they, and I don't want to spoil what the story is, but yeah, it's cool seeing certain story points play out and see how this game is connected to Diamond and Pearl, how it fits in the Pokemon universe. It's a cool concept. There's cool characters, a lot of surprises, and it's good. It feels like this is the best like story direction. They're trying to put a big emphasis on more crazier ideas since Black and White and Black and White 2. Those ones were very story based, and this one, again, while it's like, all right, just go out and do whatever you want in this open world, it still has these interesting story beats that you can start if you're played all the other Pokemon games and can remember characters and kind of start connecting the dots. It is really cool. The lore is really cool, and there's a lot here. And obviously I haven't beaten the game yet. I haven't done all the end game yet. Like there's a lot I haven't done, but so far, just in doing the story alone throughout the main game, it's interesting, but it will be a lot of the same. You go out, you catch Pokemon, you try to complete their research entries, and you just kind of do rinse and repeat for a while. Shiny hunting's a bit easier. I've just ran into shiny so far just playing the game, and I think that's pretty cool and exciting for a lot of people. But it's different. It's if people have been waiting for, and I'm not saying this game's not hard. I'm not saying this game is like, oh my gosh, I can't even get past it. But you can right away from the jump get yourself in a pretty bad situation.
With some of the
And
alpha Pokemon that are wandering
it
around.
does make it, be as it may, the hand-holdy tutorials. Once you're free to go, it does have a difficulty. It makes the other Pokemon games look very, very easy in comparison with what this game, with the management system, making sure you have the inventory, the guy charging crazy prices to make your inventory slots bigger.
Oh my god, bro.
There's a lot to consider. This game, it surprises me in a lot of ways, and it's just like that's like that slight disappointment in some ways where it's like he couldn't just go the extra mile here.
Well, you know,
he couldn't go the extra mile there.
I think Click's right that you look at it as the foundation, because I think this is going to be a series going forward for them. Like I'm looking at this as something we'll look back on in like 10 or 15 years. Remember how terrible that game is. Now we got like this awesome one. So I think it'll be a build throughout the next like couple of entries for this, but
it really is promising. And like I said, like when we were talking about last week, we kind of have no idea, since we didn't get any early looks, like depending on how this goes, we're either gonna be really hopeful or really concerned. And I do think it's really exciting. But as far as the voice acting goes, when I talk about it's there but there could be more, like for me personally, when I'm streaming, I just do voices. Like I'm just used to voicing tons of different characters, and it makes it really entertaining. But after a while, it's like you're meeting, like, it almost feels like upwards of like 10 different types of characters.
There's a lot of people.
So for me, it's like, crap, what voice did I use for this character? Like something as silly as that. But after a while, it's like, dang, it would be nice if you had that variety, or even if like during cutscenes or something, like the way the text changes, or if there's what kind of text box it uses, it still feels very Pokemon-y, but it is a little bit more cinematic. But there are little things, if they didn't even decide to do voice acting, they could have done to kind of bring you in more without that text box obviously being there. And again, like even grunts, something very Zelda-esque that we had for a long time, could immerse people a little bit more. Like Skyward Sword, very cinematic game, and it still had text, but they used the sound design so intelligently that I really hope they are able to be like, okay, we got a lot of the heavy legwork figured out. Now for this next game, let's add in more intricate details and build upon it. Like we're gonna be seeing with sequels coming out this year of games we loved 5 years ago. So I'm excited, but yeah, I agree. Like, I'm just with what Jordan said.
I'm just gonna say it. After seeing this gameplay style, I think I'm gonna have a hard time, Jordan, going back to that straight up turn based. Okay, hold on, we gotta load this battle up. We're gonna go. I don't know, man. This might put a damper on those traditional Pokemon games.
I'll be honest, I can't go back. Straight up, if they release old style Pokemon, I can't play it.
Dude, Brilliant Diamond, it was such a trudge for me, and it was just nostalgia pulling me through, and I'm still not. I'm like right in the last gym. I'm like, I guess I'll do it today. I don't know, but like this is like I kind of want to go back to Arceus and play more of that like now, and I don't know. This is just better, Jordan.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is way more fun than even I thought it was going to be, with just the I think it's weird when they kind of showed off the battles originally in the trailers and they were talking about it. It seemed like it was going to hinder the open world feeling. And in gameplay, when you're actually doing it, it doesn't feel like that. It feels like, all right, here's a match. You're out of the match. You can just keep going. You can run away from the match. You can do all these other options. It doesn't feel like I have to be like, oh, I got to avoid a trainer. Oh, I got to avoid a Pokemon. It incentivizes you to just kind of do what you want in that open sandboxy Pokemon way. That it's been slowly trying to get itself to, and this is the best version of that, and hopefully whatever Legends game comes next or whatever they do with Generation 9, I do hope it's more in this direction, because this is a refresher for the series. While not perfect, it's necessary for giving something different than what we get every single year with the regular Pokemon games.
Let me go to Sean here, all right? Because you stepped away from the Pokemon stuff. I asked you if you got Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. You laughed for about 2 minutes, I think, straight, just over the Halo voice chat while we're trying to call stuff out. You just kept laughing. So Arceus, though, you're in. You're like, you've been playing it. You've been messaging. Like, I've been playing it for like the entire night and all this. I mean, are you just, let's say we get the next generation Pokemon game, but it's turn-based. Are you just skipping them and you're just like, yes, I'll wait for the next Legends game?
Yes, but yeah, definitely. I could not, because the thing about, I know there's different camps of Pokemon fans, and there's actually a lot of people that can't stand this game because of how different it is. But to me, that was my big, like, ever since I saw this game, like when we first saw it, whenever it was, I think it was a Pokemon presentation, I was like, okay, I want this. I want this. I want to see if it's actually different. I want to see what they do differently. And to me, they've blended Breath of the Wild elements, Monster Hunter elements, and Pokemon Snap elements, and made it just like into a game that works. Yeah, it presentation wise, the graphics, I mean, they're not up to snuff.
We can talk about the graphics too. Yeah, that's a topic.
The gameplay loop is just so good that, you know, and I did a video when the embargo lifted for the game, talking about some of the reviews that came out. And I don't remember which review it was, but one of the reviews said that the areas were small and contained. And to that person, I have to say, did you play the game?
Right.
Because they're not small, and they actually,
even the first area is big.
Yeah,
well, the first area is huge once you get all the different abilities to traverse the landscape more so. So I almost feel like people are preconditioned with games in this style, because you might see something over there and you're like, oh, I probably can't go over there. There's a river behind it. You know, there's a river in front of it. I won't be able to cross that, whatever. But you can go there. You just have to have the right stuff in order to go there. So I think that's what the most fun, because even the first area, I just went back to the first area now, and I'm finding some very high level Pokemon, but they're not on the obvious areas that you're supposed to be in. They're different ones, and they're strong ones, and there's,
I mean, it's kind of what we had with older Pokemon games, because you get Surf and then you go back to an area and you're like, oh, I can go across this and get to the little island over there or something.
But I mean, it was still very linear.
Yeah,
you know?
I get what you're saying, yeah.
It was still extremely linear, and that linearity, while still kind of there, it's definitely more open. It's definitely different. The fluidity of being able to, you know, battle a Pokemon and then get right out of it and then throw a Pokemon at something like a tree because you want the apricorns on there so you can go quickly craft stuff. Everything's just fast. And it really makes you involved in the game more so.
I like how junky the Pokeballs look too.
Yeah.
They look terrible. It's funny because there's a little firecracker that shoots out of it, and I like them playing into the idea of this being like forever ago, like right at the beginning of the whole thing, and you're using these like antique like items and stuff. It's a fun idea for that.
That's something that's subtle in this. When you relate it to Monster Hunter, I like Monster Hunter a lot, and for a reason a lot of people don't, is that in Monster Hunter, I like that every character seems so excited to be in the Monster Hunter world. The people crafting your items are excited. The other hunters and stuff are so excited. This reminds me of that, where like every person you interact with seems thrilled to be catching the first Pokemon ever and stuff. Yeah, and I like that. Like the Science Laventon just seems like you found a Pidgey, like holy shit, you know. I love that. Like everybody is so hyped about everything. It's really very contagious.
Yeah, so we got Pokemon Legends Arceus with the throwing motion, the Pokeballs, almost like a little third-person shooter kind of, and that's still my favorite part right now, is you legitimately just throw a Pokeball at these Pokemon walking around in the field. And you know, I hope in the next one they play on that a bit more, because sometimes it'll be pretty far away, and I'll throw this Pokeball like across the field, and it'll hit the Pokemon and nothing will happen. So I don't know if there's like a radius, like, oh, you got to be at least a little close to them. And sometimes the Pokemon will see me throw a rock or something. I'm like, all right, I guess. But that, like, I would like to see them do like curve throws, or like give you points for distance from how far away you are when you throw the Pokeball at them. And there are some cool things I think they could do with that mechanic, with the throwing motion and all this. But
Pokeball sniper rifles, I can see one and blast them.
You can do all kinds of stuff with it. Why not give you a Pokeball gun?
Yeah.
Okay, the visuals though,
terrible.
Okay. This was I mean, it's basically been a topic since they showed it off. It was on stream, and now we actually have it in front of us in our computer monitors or TVs or whatever. And I think it is the weakest part of the game. Obviously, are the visuals. Game Freak is unfortunately not the best at 3D development, and it's pretty obvious here. But
hopefully with this, it's like you think that more collaborations or partnerships could kind of come out of it. You know, like people seeing this and being like, okay, there's a market for this. There's an interest. There's a lot of groundwork here. Like, let's do something. You know, get some of those teams on board. I don't know.
So if it costs money, they could just cut corners and survive. It'll be good.
But they're like one of the biggest franchises ever, bro.
And they haven't
Come
needed to do
on.
much to stay that way.
That's
so
actually
why
reminds me of
change
what
it?
Jeff Grubb said. Xbox spends $69 billion to compete. PlayStation, our games cost $200 million each. Nintendo, voice acting is a bit spendy for a game that will sell 15 million copies.
Accurate.
Graphics wise, it's really the environments, and then from a distance, if you see a big Pokemon in the distance, it kind of moves at like 2
5
frames.
for I know you mean it's like,
Yeah.
it's like flip book.
If you see a big Steelix in the background, it just judders along the screen.
Flying Pokemon have like 2 frames. If you're not looking directly at them, they'll just literally have wings up and wings down, and they teleport forward.
Did you see? I had that Breath of the Wild moment with the flying Gyarados.
Yes.
I'm like,
Yes.
is that a Gyarados? It looks like he's inchworming. And then I ran over and the frames came back, and I was like, that was almost a perfect moment.
It's really that, and it's the environments that either look too of the same, like with the trees, or the ground with not a lot of detail on it. But when it comes to the Pokemon and their character models themselves, I don't know if it's every single Pokemon, but there is like distinct Pokemon that do look different in this game, like Ghastly, the whatever you call that, the gas behind him, it's completely different. Flareon's tail is stylized now. Like, there's new character models, and I do think the Pokemon and their animations, I think, are closer to what people wanted more of in Sword and Shield, with how they kind of do their attacks, how they move around. All of that's a lot better, and it feels like they're actually doing these attacks when they're doing them. They're either calling for the attacks to happen or they're doing them themselves. And I think the models look great. The character models look fine. Again, they're just kind of there. They look all right. But the Pokemon themselves look 10 times better than they ever have. And I think that's important for, again, the blueprint of this all. It's really the environments that you see throughout everything that really kind of go, well, like the city's nice, but the expeditions are, I've seen that mountain before. That's a cool tree over there, I guess.
I feel like the graphics are okay, but the higher you climb, the worse things look. I feel like the more you realize, like, trees can only exist 100 yards from you and stuff. The major picture, there's all those viral screenshots where you get on top of a hill and the water effects are little squares repeated. That's the thing that gets me the most, is like in the later zones, when it starts to have more verticality, you really begin to see, like, okay, there's a lot of corners being cut for the illusion of size.
Yeah, I'm assuming when we get to the next Legends game, we'll probably be on the next generation Switch as well, and then we can be like, all right, let's see what Game Freak can do with that. But I think the visuals themselves, while the weakest part, it's not getting in the way as much as I thought it was going to when I first saw the game. I was like, oh, this is going to be rough.
It runs pretty smooth. Yeah.
I could for the most part ignore the weird, like, flat textures on the ground as long as the game is fun enough. And I think it's at least fun enough to eclipse that. So the game, definitely not a looker. Not something you're going to be walking around screenshotting all these things and be like, wow, look how amazing this looks. Not really. But the game itself is pretty fun. So while I would give it low marks on the visuals, give it high marks on the replayability and the fun factor. So I think it's worth picking up. I think it's a good enough game for the money, and I think you're getting a lot of time out of it. Like I said, I'm seeing people spend 12 hours in a sitting and they're like still in the beginning of the game. So
I spent 11 yesterday with it. And I didn't even intend to do it. Like, I was just like, oh, let me start this up. And I was like, ooh.
I think if you've fallen out of Pokemon, this is a good way to get back into it.
Yeah.
Well, when I first saw this game, I knew it was going to be, when I first saw the mechanics, I knew it was going to be really good, because they ripped a bunch of mechanics from other games that are good and put it into this one, and then kind of added their own layer to it. But there's a little bit of Xenoblade, in here. There's a little bit of other games, obviously Breath of the Wild, DNA. I mean, it's not exactly like all those other games, but they just kind of took a bunch of that other stuff. I mean, throwing Pokeballs is fun. I mean, that's something, like, if you put a third and like you throw it, that's cool. That's something that people have always wanted. So the visuals, that stuff, it's jarring at first, but then once you start playing, you're like, okay, well, the game's fun. So, it's cool.
Yep. And so the trading aspect, I haven't done any trading yet, but I have those kind of Pokemon that I remember having to trade back in the day to get their evolved form. Are we still at that point, Jordan? Like, do I have to trade Machoke to get my champ?
That's what I'm curious about.
I'm not sure.
No, you don't have to.
I haven't even gotten to that.
Yeah, you don't have to. There's a lady that's in town, by that training, that
training center up top.
Yeah, trading center. Like, you can get like the trade thing from there, and
nice.
it's just I guess if you trade, it might be faster. But you can still do that, but you don't have to.
Okay, cool,
Nice.
very good. So I can evolve my Haunter into a Gengar, my Machoke into a Machamp. Okay, good.
I will say,
Abra
mechanic wise,
Cool.
this game allowing you to kind of interswap every single move for any of the characters
that's
that
a
you
good
unlock,
point. You don't
and
forget
that you can
moves.
evolve
Yeah.
when you're ready to, once you meet the requirements.
Yes.
I think that is really, really cool, as well as when you're trying to, complete research on an individual Pokemon. You don't have to just go off the initial checklist. You can check, okay, I'm going to do this, that, or this, and I'll hit level 10. I don't have to do everything on the list or do everything specifically, just a combination of it to hit that level 10 for the research. I think that kind of gives a lot of variety. I think it allows you to be really in depth with how you kind of put your team together and what they can do. I think they've crafted the best and most user-friendly system from a lot of things people wanted to see for better life in the game. Fixing a lot of the issues that people.
I'm gonna go back to. I gotta finish Brilliant Diamond. I'm just gonna be mad the entire time now. I just realized it's like you can switch moves out. You don't have to forget them. Evolve when you want.
No, check this out, man.
So
Like,
just throw the traditional games away. We don't need Gen 9 and traditional Pokemon. Just do Legends.
all they need to do is just incorporate some of the things from there into the next ones, because the big thing with this is that there's no like PvP, and that's we're not as into that, but that's such
true.
a huge aspect.
can
Like
mess
literally
that
the
up,
games were built off of PvP. I remember
you're
back in the day, it was like you're gonna beat your friend's ass, on the schoolyard, like in Pokemon Yellow, or the link cables. You guys remember that? Like doing like the link cable stuff. So like it's built off that, and there's such a, even still to this point with Sword and Shield, I know all of us aren't super high on that game, but there's still hella people playing Sword and Shield online, competitive battling. So they need to just rip some ideas. I made a video on it, but they need to rip some ideas from here. Stuff like being able to switch the Pokemon, like right there. Like you don't have to go into a menu to switch what Pokemon you're starting with. It's just, you can just quick swap it. So all those type of things that it should have been in there a long time. Even without the Legends, that stuff should have been in there, like being able to quickly swap items and Pokemon, and a lot of these things should have already been in there. So they can still do the normal generation that they do. They can still do that, but they just need to take some of the cool stuff out from there. But I think there should be two. I think that there should be the regular Pokemon generations with multiplayer, because balancing multiplayer and the moves, like this agile style and strong style, will not work. It's broken for a multiplayer, so you can't do that. So they're going to have to figure out how to do that if they want to put it in there. But I think they should separate them, make the Legends and then make the regular ones, and then feed off each other.
I would say last part. How do they? What do you think their Pokemon setup looks like, or their schedule looks like going forward? Do you think they're just going to do 2, or do you think they're going to do Let's Go as well and have 3 separate series going?
Let's go to the streets, please. That needs to go to the. Throw that game out. Throw that game in the trash, please, and just focus on
I'm
Legends
okay with Let's Go Gold and Silver. I'd be okay with that. Let's do
if they wanted to do one more, I would take Gold and Silver. But that's it.
What about a Legends? Instead of wasting money on that, what about a Legends? Start right away. Now that this game's out, just start working on Legends Gold and Silver. How about
I
that?
would assume that Let's Go Gold and Silver have already.
Yeah, they're already.
On.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Done. But in that case, I'd be okay with that then.
I hate Let's Go.
Well, you know what? Here's the issue with this though. Going forward, I realize this. There's only one version of the game, and I kind of feel like they want 2 versions of these games if they're gonna really make it a full-on thing.
There's going to be DLC for this completely, and then we'll get in a year from now Arceus Ultimate Edition, some new form that has everything and then maybe a little bit more. We'll get another version.
I feel like they'd be weirded out though.
Would they do 2 versions, or do you think they'd have 2 different pathings within the same game?
Only starting with Arceus, which is in lore the god Pokemon.
Yes.
Now, they could have easily, let's say they want to do Mew and Mewtwo, they could easily make 2 games, but the stories have to be similar enough where they're not too different from each other, where they actually just made 2 different games.
Yeah, a lot of work. Yeah.
So it would really have to be close. They would have to have done it with a Dialga and Palkia again, with a Diamond and Pearl, and kind of split it up. It's the same thing, just slightly different. So I don't really know. I think they're kind of going to focus on individual aspects of these mythical Pokemon.
You know what some people did, man? They bought because they're so used to buying 2. This is so weird. I swear some people, they bought the physical and digital copy of the game.
I had to buy both.
Kept the physical sealed, play the digital.
we had a snowstorm here, so my physical hasn't been able to be delivered for 2 days.
To be
now,
fair,
so I bought mine digitally for midnight release.
to be fair though, I did that for Xenoblade, physical and digital. It actually worked out.
I mean, I always do that for certain games. I'll buy a digital copy just to play that, and I have multiple Switches, so I can just easily, even though this one doesn't support cloud save, which is annoying, but yeah.
Didn't they throw in like a little gift if you bought it digitally? Like they gave you like
you get 30 heavy balls. Click. You want your heavy? I got an extra heavy ball.
Wait, I did.
Wait, why?
There's a code attached.
The code's in your email.
Yeah, check your email. I noticed mine when I bought it on the eShop. It said, "Here's your code for additional resources." Yeah,
30 heavy balls.
Hey man, I'll take balls. Any balls are good balls. Come on.
Hell yeah.
Heavy
balls.
The only other thing I was gonna say is a little bit like housekeeping. Like the UI is a little confusing sometimes, as far as like I wish you could track. And this is just like kind of like the open world almost setting with like quests, for example. You don't know if you've really kind of complete a quest. Unless you like go through and look at it, or if you mark it, then it'll like kind of tell you where you need to go, or if the character's moved. You can't track multiple quests at the same time, so you have to pick and choose.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Like even accessing the quests and stuff, you have to go to the map and then open the quests. It's like a lot of couple extra steps that when you're just used to like having that at your disposal with tons of different series, it's like it could be consolidated and organized a little bit better. The UI setup and tracking quests, and it's not the biggest thing, but also it is very tedious having to go through each quest and being like, okay, did I complete this one? Did I complete this one? Checking summaries for the Pokemon you've caught, like, oh, like, did I catch this certain size of Pokemon? It's like you can't see specifically unless you go to a pasture. So it's like, it's very hard for little housekeeping things that it's just like a couple extra steps. Not a game-breaking thing, but it's like, dang, hopefully they optimize this for the next one.
How do we get to a world where up on the D-pad is start?
I know.
When did this happen?
Literally.
This happen?
Weird.
That just makes me up. Start does nothing in this game.
I know. I was just saying, I keep pressing it just out of habit. So it's like, all right, time to open my menu.
Well, it puts you on your mount. It puts you on your mount, but like I don't know why that.
But when you're in town, literally it does nothing.
Yeah.
That was just a strange decision. I was like, that's weird. Up is.
I wanted to ask y'all. I saw a couple people, not a lot, but I saw some people complaining about the forced grinding, which I enjoy. The fact that like in order to go to the next area, sometimes it'll be like, all right, you need to increase your like hunter
star rank.
Yeah, your star rank. So you end up being forced to stay in a zone longer and catch more Pokemon and like do more discoveries. I enjoy that, and it honestly has made me explore and capture Pokemon that I may have walked past. But I have seen some people saying, "Oh, it feels like it kills the pace that they force you to do this." I was curious if y'all love. I'm loving it.
I haven't been throwing that yet because I'm just kind of throwing Pokeballs and stuff as I'm making my way there, and it just kind of seems to happen. Like I did that happen at one point for one of the stars, and I only needed like 100 points or something. I was like, oh, I'm gonna go catch this one Pokemon, and that was it. So I feel like if you just mainline and just run straight to it, you'll run into that. But if you're actually like playing the game, you probably won't get to a major grind.
Well, that's why what I've been doing is I run straight to the objective and I see what I'm supposed to do. And then after I've done it, then I start capturing all of them. And I kind of enjoy that because then I can zigzag and methodically make sure I catch everything.
It's not like, like Monster Hunter. Sometimes you need certain materials from certain enemies in order to finish one piece of your armor, and you might not, that drop might be super rare. So you have to fight it like 10 times, whereas one person might get it, the item the first fight. You could be in the same group and you get totally different items. So it's like that grinding aspect's kind of in there. At least with Pokemon, it's like it gives you objective numbers. The thing that where it gets kind of tough is like seeing a certain move a certain amount of times from a certain Pokemon. It's like, okay, I found out if you make your Pokemon use it, it counts. But for a while, I was waiting for the rival, like the NPC, to use it. I'm like, this is a waste. But the thing is, I realized one thing that really made it fun is when you realize you could just run through and get a Pokeball. You could just switch to the next Pokemon and throw another one out, and you don't have to wait for that same Pokemon to come back. I was like, as soon as I figured out you can have like literally all 6 doing different things at the same time, I was like, bro, this is awesome. You can just it's a breeze, It's cool.
So yeah, Pokemon Legends Arceus, definitely recommend it. People should check it out. I think it's a good game. We'll see where we are at the end of this year, but there are a lot of people who like it, and it's up there on the top of their games, like you said, Max. But we're 29 days into the year, so we got a long way to go. And there's a lot of big titles from Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft coming up. So it'll be interesting to revisit at the end of the year to see where we are. Evan, we got Discord questions over there. I'm gonna go to
the only Pokemon question we have
chats.
is Gen 2 Let's Go remake, but with an Arceus style open world ?
Let's go,
Jordan?
Arceus open world.
Specifically Gen 2,
This is
let's
what
go.
OJ. This is what OJ just pitched.
Yeah.
Did you send in
So,
that Discord?
I don't want Let's Go. Let's
Yeah,
Go
I
plays
thought he
differently.
originally pitched just throwing it in the trash.
Yeah, I don't want Let's Go. You just catch, and then there's trainer battles and then gym. Like that's just. It's like the Pokemon Go game. I don't want to play Pokemon Go. If I wanted to play Pokemon Go, I'll just go play Pokemon Go. But I don't want to play Pokemon Let's Go. I don't want to play Pokemon Let's Go. It's just it's good for my daughter. She liked it, but it's just not a.
Again, it's just that like we were talking last week, like that different demographic. Like it's gonna apply to different people, and I love the fact that a lot of, I mean, unless you're trying to be different against the grain, a lot of like returning people who stepped away from Pokemon are really coming back and enjoying it. And they're like, it's not perfect, but it's promising.
But we can also, I don't think many people have also looked at it this way, that with this series, we have nearly 1,000. If you include all the variants and everything, we're basically having about 1,000 different Pokemon, right? 1,000 different Pokemon. When do you stop making a new generation where you have to make 90 to 100 new Pokemon?
We only need 151. We don't need all the other ones. Just
what
151.
What if they stop making generations and they just make games like this? With each new game, you get new Pokemon, you get different types of all these other Pokemon, like we got with this game, the Hisuian versions of whatever that got those versions. Like that would be kind of a good way for them to kind of not have to be like, all right, what do we have to make new Pokemon? We got to make a generation 9. We have to come up with a new area. You could just kind of pivot away from that and still make new Pokemon to put them
New
out
forms.
there.
I like that idea. New forms. Yeah.
Fill in the gaps and give some more backstory and lore. That's great.
How many Pokemon are we gonna put?
I think this is a way out for them to do that, so they don't have to feel.
How many Pokemon? 300? 300? We putting 300 in there?
300 what?
There's
300 Pokemon. They're gonna be like, because they're not all gonna be in the game. There's gonna be 300 in there.
There's
Like they'll section them off. Like look at this game. Like Charizard's not even in here. Like this is like
Wait, hold on. Charizard's not in this game.
as far as I know.
Uninstall.
All right, I'm going to change.org right now.
Yep. Good.
But like
Ridiculous.
they could do that, and they can add more in later. They could have DLC, and they can build upon putting new like again, like that's the problem we got with
They can't
Sword and
release
Shield.
a new card
Oh, you
set without
can't.
Charizard. They give us this game without him.
Listen, I don't make the rules, but I'm just saying this could be a way for. It's a hypothetical. It's a way for Pokemon to get away from the generation curse of them feeling like they have to every 3 years come up with X amount of new Pokemon, a new generation. This way they can finally relax, explore what they've already created, make it better, add new stuff into it, and they don't. It feels like they wouldn't have to necessarily rush out a generation games. Like, okay, we got to get this game out every 3 years for the new generation. We have to have all the card game, we have to have all the toys, all the merch lined up for this. This can kind of relax that, but who knows?
Last question, what starter did everyone go with?
Cyndaquil.
Cyndaquil.
Cyndaquil, hell yeah.
Best starter.
The fire dude.
Yeah, Cyndaquil.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I don't know names, man.
Wow, did everyone but Click went with Cyndaquil. Cyndaquil is the most popular one.
Yeah,
Cyndaquil is my favorite starter of all time.
Typhlosion was really awesome.
Bow tie round ball. Ow.
Yeah, but Typhlosion has fire coming out of its neck.
Yeah, Typhlosion is just such a cool Pokemon. Back when Gold and Silver came out, that was like
that was the cool one.
Well, I was-
New Typhlosion's sick. I love the
I was saying in chat because we took a poll and obviously Cyndaquil was the most popular than Rowlet, and then
whatever the other one's called.
Oshawott.
yeah. But the thing is, I was like,
Like
so
Asha
if
who?
I was younger, 1000% picking Cyndaquil because I love Cyndaquil. Was
different.
so happy when he was included. Remember, he was in Melee, and that was like the coolest thing. And then Rowlet, super adorable. That's what I go with now. But I was like, part of me wants to pick the otter just because I feel bad. Like, I just really feel bad for this poor thing. Like, no one loves it. And everybody's like, I love it. And it's like, you're the one guy in the back, bro. I'm glad someone's loving it. I think it's interesting how dominated it is that everybody's like, Cyndaquil!
What I remember, it kind of feels like Sword and Shield. I'm pretty sure in that game, when whoever you chose your starter, the other two were kind of like sad for a second, like,
Yes!
what's up? And in this game, when you choose, it was
They're
so
like,
I just had Oshawott and Rowlet just kind of standing over there, and Oshawott was just frowning, just like, come on, like, why not me? And I was like, because
And then you reach out for it, and you just push it to the side and be like, hold on, Cyndaquil's behind you. Get
Right.
yeah, look out, I gotta get this Cyndaquil.
One thing I didn't say that I think is kind of creepy with this game, but it's like cool. No spoilers, of course, but like some of the stuff, like if you read, like, you guys ever read like the Pokedex entries for these
Yeah.
Pokemon, and it's like
sad.
really crazy or sad.
Yeah.
They kind of play with that a little bit in this game too, like with some of the side quests. So I thought that was like, whoa, wait, hold up here. Like that's a really bad Pokedex entry. And like you're actually like doing something in that thing. In that.
My favorite
entry.
is like at the beginning, they're like, if you know, good luck passing the test, otherwise you're gonna fucking die. Good luck.
I know, yeah.
Oh my god.
They explicitly say they're like, you will come back a hero, or you will be left in the wilds to die. Like, damn,
we
no
won't feel
pressure.
bad. Yeah.
Is that like that's like 5 minutes after they said, "Oh, you're 15. You're probably good to work here." Then.
I know,
It's
right?
like, oh wow, okay, thanks.
You'll never be able to take down this glowing Pokemon. Oh, you did it? Okay, cool. But you won't be able to take down. Oh, you did it? Okay.
You get the
here's
side
a
quest
flute
where
you
it's
can-
like this, where they said someone should check out the Drifloon that's playing with the kids. And you look at the Pokedex entry, it's like Drifloon carries kids away, and it's like,
Yeah,
oh,
it's like
someone
what
should
a
really
minute,
look into that.
It carries kids away. For those who don't know in the chat, like in the Pokedex, it carries kids away and it doesn't bring them back.
Yeah, like the person so nonchalantly is like, I think there were kids playing with the Drift. I don't know. Maybe whenever you get a chance, and it's like, whoa, someone should probably do that now. Maybe we should call the police. I don't
This is
know.
like the first-
What do we do here?
This is like the first Drifloon that's ever killed somebody. It's like this is like you're reenacting the
Yeah,
history.
this is
of
history,
this-
yeah.
We charted it. The Pokedex entry. Okay, carries children away.
It is funny the amount of times they're like, there's a giant noble Pokemon who's practically a god of this territory. We all worship it. He's got insane. All right, 15-year-old, you go take care of this. I'm
Yeah.
gonna smoke my pipe. You know.
So funny because they're like, oh yeah, he mauled people. That's what this is. He freaking
Yeah.
mauled the people. And you're like, oh, you're sending me just one. It's like mauling the whole like galaxy team. I'm like, bro.
He's gotta do it.
I don't want to say the event, but they talk about people dying in this world, and I feel like I've never remember them explicitly talking about death in a previous Pokemon.
I feel like
but this one
we've
they
never
are.
seen Pokemon just straight up like crush you in the game like that
Yeah.
happens now. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I get you know what, Jordan, you know what I realized, I get Pokemon XD vibes out of this. You know, that single player that they had there, a little bit
I
of
get
that
that.
kind of that spin-off story kind of thing.
You know, funny enough, I'll make fun of it. Oh, the game's bad. Oh, mystery dungeon, but it literally has the same premise. It literally has the same
True.
premise when you start the game.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally the same concept, except
pretty-
obviously you're not a
bad.
Pokemon.
It was darker than I expected. Yeah.
Let's go to the super chats here. Liam says, does the magazine leak hint at a second Kirby game? Just
I don't think so.
It just hints at a new game, which
Cell phone game.
spoiler,
Yeah.
there may be a Nintendo Direct at some point this year. I don't want to give it away,
Yeah.
but it might happen at some point this year. So, you know, keep an eye out for that. Let's see. Then I have Lord says, I got an Etika tattoo today. Joy-Con boys for life.
Hell yeah.
Shout outs.
And then Matthew says, if you're getting a Steam Deck, what is the first modern game you're going to download and play on it? And what is the first retro game you're going to try on it? First retro game, Jedi Outcast. Modern game, I guess. I was going to say Control, because that game seems like I want to see how that actually runs on the Steam Deck.
Mm.
But I think I think MVG is the only one getting it. I don't know if anyone else is getting it other than.
I
Really
want
guess.
one. I
So?
can't
Sold out.
buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah. My
Well, we have
roommate has one
reservations. They're
pre-ordered.
gonna send like confirmation emails out here pretty next month.
I don't even know how you got the chance to. I didn't even get a chance. It was like impossible.
I was ready, and
I was there ready too, and it didn't work. It started crashing and I wouldn't. I was like, all right, whatever. Who cares? I'll just buy it. Like, screw it.
Type says, really like John's video of Legends Arceus. I gotta say, it's one of the best Pokemon experiences for me since X and Y when they moved to 3D graphics and Sun and Moon with Ultra Beasts and Island Traversal. And then Type says, overall, solid game so far. Great to see the open world nature work in Pokemon. This is from Ice saying, with the force of NFT by publishers, do you think it will crash and burn like a lot of games as service because too many are on the market? And do you think Final Fantasy 6 or Dragon Quest will have them? I think that's supposed to be 16 maybe, or Dragon Quest. Square seems pretty excited about metaverse play, so maybe that they're gonna light up Final Fantasy 14 with that. I bet it's gonna
Yeah.
happen. It's coming.
It's gonna become normal, and people are just gonna accept it because the same thing happened with microtransactions. Everyone was like going nuts. The same thing happened with DLC Horse Armor. Everyone's like, "What more?
Yeah.
you gotta." This has happened. The history repeats itself. So NFT is just the new thing.
There are some things that they pitched that failed though.
Sorry.
Remember the online code where you'd buy a game and it like now it's online enabled. I think Ubisoft's called it the whole like the online pass. I think
that
this
was
might be
EA.
that.
That was EA.
EA.
Madden did that with.
Yeah, the
nobody else
multiplayer.
copied them.
Yeah.
Who did somebody else? Who did anybody else? Evan, did anybody else do that?
I
or-
can't remember because they were the biggest one to do it. The one where you can't play online unless you either pay them through their shop or get the code in the original box.
For those who don't know, you'd buy a game new, it would be sealed, and when you opened it up, there would be a code you'd put in that enabled you to play online. And if you sold it at GameStop and somebody bought it, they couldn't play online unless they paid like $5 or $10.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I can't. This NFT stuff just seems like it can't possibly stick around. I don't know, but you're right. Microtransactions.
I think
Jordan and Evan should have a discussion about this.
Yeah, 1000%. I just think maybe it hasn't hit a point where it's really. I think the concept is still so in its infancy that it's like it's hard for people to conceptualize something that it's hard to fully understand, but also maybe serves a sort of utility or purpose.
Let me move on to the next one. There's a bunch here. We still need the PlayStation, other stuff. This would turn into a whole conversation.
True.
Joe says, do you think it's true that the Safe Moon cryptocurrency will revolutionize the future of gaming NFTs and games with its blockchain-like rumors suggest? I hope not. Not Safe Moon. Christabel says, hello, Spawncast. I am a big wrestling fan with WCW, NWO Revenge, and WrestleMania 2000 games. What adapter should I use to play my N64 on an HDMI TV? Thanks.
Ooh.
The Eon.
The Retro Tink 5X is really good, and it's not super expensive, and it works with a bunch of different things. I'm not a big fan of the Eon N64 adapter because it just uses S-Video and scales it to an HD television. And Ultra HDMI is like $100.
If you just need to like just plug it in just to make it work, and you're not trying to like get the best picture, you could probably get one of those cables just to play it for an afternoon or something and then put it away. You know, one of those
like the pound cables.
Yeah, just to be like, oh, I remember if you're just trying to hook it up for now just to play it, because like the other things we're suggesting, even like if you can find Ultra HDMI, they're all heavy investments. Like we're talking hundreds of dollars for most of them. So if you're just trying to just plug it in, $30 cable just to see if you still would play the game a lot.
This guy likes the game a lot. You guys should let him. You need to invest in it, bro. Let me give you some advice.
I would say that if you're doing
invest in the highest quality ish. What's the highest quality? This man know.
I don't. What's the
Ultra
HDMI going for now? Anyway, you see him occasionally pop up on eBay.
A lot.
Are they really?
He said it was his favorite. If this man's still playing crusty ass N64 games, you got to give this man the best quality. We got to get him the best.
How much is my Ultra HDMI worth now?
A lot.
700.
Yeah.
Wow.
There you go.
Sell that shit.
Change. Get it. Let's get it done.
I like mine. Mine's cool. I got it sitting right on top of an 64 DD.
When was the last time you used that, John?
Yesterday. Actually, yeah, yesterday, because there may or may not be a video where I bought fake games again, and I may have found the 007 GoldenEye mod with Mario characters.
Nice.
I've seen that.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. This is from Jeff saying, RGT, which arcade 1-up should I choose first? Street Fighter 2 or NBA Jam?
Well, the Street Fighter 2 that's out there now is like a legacy cabinet and comes with like, I think like 12 games on it. Whereas NBA Jam just has Jam, Tournament Edition, and Hang Time. Mm-hmm. So you might get a little more mileage out of that one and then get the NBA Jam later.
Type follows up saying MVG couldn't handle RGT's drip.
Not wrong.
And then Patrick says, finally, PlayStation in 2022. Let's go. We can jump into that. Let's talk about PlayStation in 2022.
Hell
hey.
yeah.
So I think we're going to have an event from Sony here pretty soon. I feel like it's going to be in the next 2 weeks, most likely, maybe 3 weeks. I'm thinking it's like midway through February they're going to start talking. I feel like they wanted to get Horizon just about out the door and then set up the rest of their 2022. I think PlayStation VR is going to be one of the big focuses this year, next to God of War to finish up. Yeah. Ghostwire Tokyo, it sounds like that's on track for like March or April from what like some of the rumors that are popping up now and even like store listings. So
Did you see there's like a leak going around that seems sort of credible that they reworked Ghostwire Tokyo and it's going to just basically be like a spooky first-person shooter.
Interesting. Okay, because that looks like it's going to be really arcadey and like you're shooting magic all over the place.
Yeah,
and I don't know what the game is.
It was apparently much more about like hunting ghosts and heavily based on Japanese mythology. And apparently, well, it sounds like pretty late in development. They went, no one's going to buy this. It's too weird. And apparently, they turned it much more. It's just going to be pretty much a first-person shooter with ghosts.
Okay. Okay. The question will be, can Sony get Sean to plug in his PS5 in 2022?
I'm doing it for Horizon.
See, they already got it. So it just took 2 months then in the year to get you to plug it in.
Yeah.
Last week of February, you're plugging that in.
Yeah, but I mean, to be fair, I moved in October and it's been sitting in that same box.
Damn. See, that would have been, I'd have been setting up all my stuff right away. That's crazy.
I just used the Xbox. Snappier, simpler.
I don't know. I still play a lot of PS5. I like my Xbox Series X and these, I'm hopeful for the future of Xbox, but at PS5, man.
We have Horizon, then we got Gran Turismo. You on Gran Turismo, Sean? You getting that?
I might actually. I'll wait for reviews on it because I really used to like that series.
It looks good.
So we'll see.
I've been looking at a lot of the previews. Visually, it looks impressive, but it seems like they're going all out.
It's probably gonna be good. You're just racing a car. I mean, it's probably gonna be amazing.
Yeah, but Gran Turismo has always had some minor flaws. I felt since. I guess
they're going back to old school like the old school career system campaign and all of that.
Good
licenses and everything. They're doing all that.
That was dope about it back in the day. I used to play it so much; it was fun. So this one looks like it's going to be that. The only thing is that the persistent online. That's the only thing. But whatever on that. But
modern gaming.
Yeah, modern gaming.
I prefer modern vintage gaming.
So we would have Horizon, then we'd have Gran Turismo. Then it sounds like we'd be getting Ghostwire Tokyo after that,
and then God of War to round it out.
God of War end of the year is what we feel like. I still think God of War September.
I still think God of War October 2023.
Yeah, I think they're going to get out of the way for November and December like they usually do. So we'll see God of War. I'd say September, October, somewhere in there to finish up their year. But
and then Final Fantasy 16 at the very end.
Yeah, that tells me they still have at least they might have another one, but I'd say 2 releases, one of which is probably going to be their VR headset along with Horizon. Like the Call of the Mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think the PlayStation VR is gonna be a big release for them this year. When did PlayStation VR 1? Did that come out in October? I feel like that was an October release for that piece of hardware. So that's what I do. I'd put that in October and then put God of War in September.
You really think God of War is coming out this year?
I do.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was supposed to come out last year.
No, it wasn't.
No, I knew it was going to come out last. No, it's coming out this year. From what they showed that gameplay trailer, it looks good. Looks like it's like
it looks like more God of War. Yeah.
There's been some leaks. Who knows how real they are, but they seem pretty credible. But it sounds like God of War is been pretty close to done for a while. They just want to drop it in a space where people are going to buy it. So, but it sounds done.
I'm ready.
What's the other game? Stray, where you play as a cat.
Forspoken.
On that click.
Forspoken
on that.
well.
Clicks plugging the PlayStation 5 in right now. It's starting to preload.
I mean, I'm already excited for everything else too, but like I need to know. I need that game. I need it. I'm so intrigued.
Sifu.
Forspoken.
Oh, I'm looking forward to Sifu. Sifu looks like it's going to be amazing.
I played it. Is anyone looking at Forspoken right now and they're like, I don't know anymore. Like they've been showing some of the gameplay and it.
I didn't know when I first saw it. I was like, I don't know.
It's fallen off a little bit for me. I mean, I'm still gonna check it out, but I feel like I'm like, when's Final Fantasy 16 coming out? Square.
For 70,
when's 16?
For 70, it seems like a maybe. I don't know. It might be amazing, but it didn't impress me with the gameplay that I've seen so far.
The 70s where it gets me, but I'm definitely more interested in Forspoken than I am Babylon.
I mean, everyone's looking
better than
past
Babylon right now.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I'm having what you're having, Spawnwave, which is that my hype when we first saw that reveal for Forspoken, I was like, hell yeah. And then now that they've just been like, here's 20 minutes to do gameplay, and it's a person walking around the field. I'm like, no.
Is it empty feeling?
It didn't look good. That was my thing.
IGN was allowed to put up like 15 or 20 minutes of raw gameplay. The frame rate is weird and bad. Yeah, and a lot of people are kind of confused. It doesn't look terrible. It looks really raw.
Let's talk about that real quick with the frame rate. Like, they were playing on the quality mode. Apparently, there will be
what kind of monster does that?
Yeah, I know. Seriously, there will be a performance mode, 60 frames, probably like maybe 1440p or 1080p in 60 frames. So I just want to make sure that to put that out there. There will be a performance mode because that frame rate wasn't looking necessarily amazing, but it is the 4K, quality mode on PS5 or whatever that they were playing it in.
I think I am looking a little more towards something like Stranger of Paradise from Square right now compared to
just for the memes. I just want to play for the memes. That's it.
Compared to Forspoken, yeah. Like I'm just, I don't know. Forspoken kind of lost me with that gameplay, Max. To be honest.
Can I say so? I've been watching all the stuff about Stranger in Paradise, and for those who haven't played the demo, at one point the main character listens to Limp Bizkit. He puts on headphones and plays Limp Bizkit on his cell phone in the Final Fantasy universe. And recently, the developers said this is not an isekai. This is not a character from our world who goes to the Final Fantasy world. Limp Bizkit officially exists in the Final Fantasy universe.
He bought space in the metaverse of it.
Yes, I'm so confused. Yeah, it's like, bro, I'm gonna boot up my NFT, bro, and he goes, he's gonna kill Chaos. Like, what the hell?
Gotta love DMCA's.
The first Limp Bizkit album was good.
I feel like we're gonna hear about the PlayStation VR more. We also just have to see the headset. That's a big thing. Pricing all of this, and now we have our resident VR expert in Sean, so we'll hear more about that, I'm sure, from him. When that info comes out. But the elephant in the room right now is this Project Spartacus, and there is some weird stuff happening on the PlayStation Store recently. We had trophies get erased, and all of them said PlayStation 3 next to it for about a day on a lot of people's accounts. We had PS3 games get prices all of a sudden for the PS5 out of nowhere. So now I'm thinking, is Project Spartacus going to officially bring PS3 compatibility to the PlayStation platform?
Hell yeah.
Is this going to be a reality?
Doubt.
Yeah, I'm sort of sitting there too. It sounds too good to be true for it to be all native for everything.
Isn't the whole listings thing something that has happened before or something?
Four times has happened before, right?
The listings for the pricing has, but the thing with the trophy was really weird. That was a very strange occurrence.
I mean, you might get it in some sort of streaming or download. It's never going to be, you're going to take your disc and pop it in there.
No, I don't think so either.
And I can't imagine it's just going to be full on for, I don't know, man.
I think it's going to be very limited, but my thought is, even if it's all first party and even a partial thing, I do think Spartacus is coming this year, but I think it's going to be hopefully PS 1, 2, 3, and 4 to a small degree, like the stuff that is the most optimized and playable.
Okay.
Why PS5 is backwards compatible? So why? Oh, you mean just like PS4 games will show up on the service?
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, that's what I mean. Is as a subscription service. Yeah. Sorry, I should explain that better. Well, I think that as a subscription service, they're going to try and make like all the older exclusive PlayStation 4 stuff on the service, PlayStation 3 stuff. PlayStation now has PS4 stuff. It also has PS2 stuff in there. And the PS2 stuff plays natively on your PlayStation 5. It doesn't have to be streamed or anything. So that's already done. The PSP stuff is the part I'm very curious about, because I think that'll be native. But I'm still on the side right now of PS3 being streamed. But I would love to be pleasantly surprised. And they're like, hey, Metal Gear Solid 4 is just available. You can buy it, download it, and you can play online with it. I'd be all about that. I want to see weird stuff like Crisis Core, obviously Final Fantasy Crisis Core. I would love to play that on TV. And also one that I feel like I have so lost to history. Silent Hill Origin is so good, and it's just so lost. I don't know. I want to see stuff like that come into it. Sure. Yeah, that's the biggest thing is going to be there. Yeah, Silent Hill Origins.
Dude, Origins. That's one of my top 5 favorite game intros of all time.
I know.
I love
it's
that.
so good.
With a truck driver and then that music. Boom, boom. Is it long there where you are?
And him walking,
So
his
good.
flashlight just so naturally goes across the Silent Hill sign. It doesn't draw attention to it. So brilliant.
Then let's talk about Final Fantasy 16 because I am unsure if this game is coming out this year.
No.
I am on the fence for this one. I'd like to think that it makes a November release, but I'm starting to think it's March or April next year. I think that'd be a lot of games from Square to come out in 1 year if you think about it, like across all of their systems they're working on right now. I mean, that's a lot of stuff coming out left and right.
I don't think it's going to be this year.
What you got, Max?
If they do, I still think it's coming this year personally, but that's just a random guess, not based on anything. If they do delay it, there's a bunch of rumors that they want to do a Final Fantasy 16 demo. I have a feeling they're going to announce that at the same time. If there is a delay, they're going to be like, all right, you play it in 2023, but here's a demo for 2020.
I'd like a demo. I think Square has been doing a lot of demos and they've been taking feedback for quite a bit, but if they put a demo out this year, I wonder if they'll have that much time to be able to change anything if it comes out like beginning of next year. But I think it could fit in to be a really good March or April title for them in 2023.
Based off of that update that they gave us, they're like, oh, well, everything's delayed by a half year.
Everything fell back, yeah.
Yeah, where they fell back. And it just seems like there's so many people working on this. And we know how they delayed Final Fantasy 15 after they announced the release date and had a presentation that they paid for. Like they paid for a big presentation and then they delayed it after that, you know?
Yeah, they did a live event where they announced the release date with Greg Miller pressing a gigantic button that said the release date, and then afterward they delayed it again.
So you can't really, I mean, when it comes to Final Fantasy, man, I'm with you, Max. I mean, I would love for it to be, hopefully it's this year, but only if it's ready. Because Final Fantasy 15 launched in a state that's just, if you compare Royal Edition, it's like almost a different game. You can even switch characters. It was just rough. So just get it right. And if you need to wait even longer, fine by me. Just because I just don't want it to launch like Final Fantasy 15 launched,
Yeah. Let's stay on Square for a second here. You guys think we see Final Fantasy 7 Remake 2 just get teased in some way this year?
This year?
Get teased, not come out this year, but get teased.
I hope so, man. Because
teased,
yeah, just get it like a reveal maybe, and just be like, then the speculation can start for the next couple of years.
Not a full reveal, but just like a tease, some type of tease or some type of info drop saying, hey, we're doing something, or maybe like a piece of art, but nothing too crazy. I think 16 is
just the tip.
The next, say something like the next chapter in the Final Fantasy 7 series is coming, or something like that, or
then have like Red 13, have like Red with the rest of the crew, like Yuffie and all that, just like have them all like standing somewhere or something. I don't know.
Or even just like a couple voice lines to like kind of allude to foreshadowing.
If they drop a year, but if they drop the year, they're like, yeah, it's coming 2024 or something like that.
They might. My thought is
that
Square Enix. The last couple of years, Square Enix has been trying to space out their Final Fantasy stuff. So if this year we're definitely getting Final Fantasy Origin, and then there's Stranger in Paradise, and then maybe getting Final Fantasy 16. That's the only reason I think we might not even hear them say Final Fantasy 7 for this entire year, is because it sounds like Square Enix now realizes that they got to laser focus their hype. They laser focus the hype on this last expansion for Final Fantasy 14, which sold so well they had to stop selling it. So I think they're going to do the same thing. It's like only talk about 16 till that sells, and then start talking about 7.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. Is that they don't want Final Fantasy 7 Remake to get in the way of Final Fantasy 16 when they're trying to market that.
Yes.
So
why would you create competition within yourself?
Yeah, I think if it was on schedule and like Final Fantasy 16 say came out like this year holiday, then maybe in December or something they would then tease like 7 Remake or something.
Another issue too though is I don't think it was that big of a problem because they still made plenty of money, but I know that they're probably concerned with the PS5 right now in terms of sales and like getting that up to speed, because Final Fantasy 7 Remake, it did well, don't get me wrong, but it didn't do as well as I think Square Enix thought that it would do. So, and that was on 100 something million PS4s. Yes, there was an exclusive deal. Maybe Final Fantasy 7 Remake Part 2 is multi-plat, but like I know they're probably thinking about, okay, well, right now the PS5 situation isn't great. Even next year won't be great. Even the following year. It's not going to launch on a lot of systems, so there's some work to be done there if Sony's going to be paying for exclusivity deal and all that. So
I must wonder if they negotiate and they're like, we want to release on PC day one as well. And if they'd be like, well, yeah, there's not a lot of PS5s, so let's work that out. That would actually at least be some kind of middle ground there. It's, it's on PC. It's on.
They made tons of
PS5.
money on Final Fantasy VII Remake. All the ad deals that they had, the gum and Sony paid them a lot of money. The Butterfinger stuff. So they made plenty of money. So it's not like they were like broke after.
I mean, also, I guess if Sony's like, yeah, it's worth it, we're gonna pay out a pretty big bag to keep this on PS5 and it works for Square, then there you go. It'll go to PC like a year later or something, most likely.
I think that they're going to go really hardcore in on Square Enix stuff because they got rid of Japan Studio and all of that money that Japan Studio took to run all those unique ideas, all that stuff, which is very expensive, is gone. And that money is, I mean, that money's there to invest in other things. So I would say they'd invest it into Square Enix if you're going to go out of Japan, or maybe even some other things here and there.
So let's talk about anything that we actually want from Square, like different things, or Sony, different things, maybe different games to be announced. Like I would like to see them do a shooter, but I don't think it's going to happen this year. Like just announce it. We talked about Resistance, talked about SOCOM, because Call of Duty is probably going to leave PlayStation in 2 years, right? Like that, we know that the contract's good for the next 2 years. 2024, they probably want to at least start to think of something, not necessarily to completely fill the Call of Duty void, but just give people the option for.
I mean, good chance to bring back Killzone, baby.
I think it's time for, yeah, sure, Killzone, a SOCOM. I think SOCOM could at least do somewhat well here if they wanted to do it. Resistance, like there's a lot of opportunity there if they want to make it happen, or if they can make it happen. Sounds like they internally tried to push Siphon Filter, which is interesting. I don't know how that would do. I don't know if there's enough brand recognition for that game, but
Stop it.
So Siphon Filter got extremely good on the PSP. Logan Shadow actually had online matchmaking and all this weapon stealing system where you could actually yank guns out of people's hands and fight them for it. Super great game. I think that if they brought back Siphon Filter, I absolutely think you could market that and sell it today.
I'm looking up the sales for Siphon Filter now.
I mean, you got companies hyping up Cow the Kangaroo. Fuck, anything could sell in this day and age.
Siphon Filter Dark Mirror, which is actually a good game, by the way. That's a very good game.
Yeah, I think Resistance has the best opportunity.
300,000 copies total sold for that game.
Yikes.
Yeah, I really think Resistance has the best opportunity in today's day. You got like you got like the aliens, I mean, Insomniac, they make that. Maybe they're going to be too busy though. So who makes Resistance though? That'd be the thing.
Yeah, but I feel like you can do SOCOM. I think that would work.
But I feel like if it's going to be a COD like counter, it has to be something like SOCOM, because a lot of those people, it's been noticed that they want to play a game that feels more current times. Like every time COD goes to the future, they're always like, "Fuck that game! I don't want to play that game." And then they're like, "All right, we're back in the past." They're like, "Yay, I love the past."
Yeah, it's like that tactical kind of shooter, right? Too. Like it kind of would blend like Rainbow Six and Call of Duty sort of, and make it like third person. I mean, SOCOM was fun back in the day.
It was.
They might lose Doom too, though. So
yeah.
I just realized what Sony's gonna do. Oh, they're gonna take SOCOM and they'll be like, SOCOM's back exclusively for the PlayStation VR 2. It's like,
man.
I mean, no, they might, but it might be good.
But they tried it, right, with the gun and everything, and it wasn't.
Yeah, no, that wasn't good. But I'm just saying this one might be good because the technology is a lot better. I think the
technology is better. Yeah.
Yeah, but like obviously most people will not be able to play that. Like most people aren't going to buy PSVR. Most people didn't buy PSVR 1. So
yeah.
I mean,
sometimes Sony, I think, overthink. Like they probably are like, let's make a new IP shooter, and it's like, you got the IP right there for SOCOM or Killzone or Resistance. I would just go with one of those. You don't need to reinvent the wheel here. We're talking about a first person shooter.
So SOCOM would be great though.
Resistance,
Resistance could be a huge one.
I think you could pick any of those three and it would at least do well enough.
Killzone had the best clout, I think, out of all of them. So
really good world building too. Great world building.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and also Killzone, the online of Killzone actually had some really interesting things, like a rezzing gun that I liked, where if you played the medic, you actually basically shoot syringes, and it sounds weird, but it would be your secondary weapon. So you could actually, there was like a pickup system. There was all these interesting ideas that they did like once and they just stopped doing.
Oh, they did a lot of cool stuff with Killzone. They did remember the rotating gameplay modes?
Yep.
You guys remember that? That was really cool. Like you go from one gameplay mode to a different one, and then you stop afterwards and tally up everything.
I always felt that Killzone was kind of like Ridge Racer in the sense that maybe they're not like the most in-depth games of all time or whatever, but they're always graphical showcases for the platforms that they came out on. Because they usually came out, you usually got a Killzone right around the launch of a new PlayStation system. You usually got a Ridge Racer at the launch of any system, but they were always like, oh shit, you know, this is a really good looking game. So I think they could build upon that.
I'm still waiting for the one they showed in that trailer to come out.
Right.
That's what I'm waiting for.
This isn't a shooter, but I've seen so many people talking about wanting to see Uncharted 5 and see a game without Nathan Drake, because I'm not going to spoil it, but Nathan Drake not really hanging out anymore. I would love to see the new chapter of Uncharted do something different. Like
Nathan Drake's not going to be in the next Uncharted.
Oh yeah, no, I'm saying he's not, and that's why I'm more curious. Is I've actually seen a lot of people happy about that. Like Uncharted is so fun, and Naughty Dog is still so great. It'd be interesting to see a completely Nathan Drake one. Like
move on. The DLC with those two chicks is like really cool. So yes,
I replayed it. I replayed it for the video because it's on PS
Legacy.
It's even better. Like in 4K and 120 FPS when you play it in 1080p. Yeah, give me more of those girls. Hell yeah.
All right, let's cut to the chase here. We need a new game from Team Asobi. I need
Astro.
I need an Astro game.
Astrobot.
I need an Astrobot game that's not tied to VR. Don't do it. They're gonna. I already know this is gonna happen. They're gonna show up with the PSVR 2. Astrobot 2 will be revealed. Look, Astrobot was good on the PSVR, but I played Astro's Playroom. Give them the budget. Have them make a full-fledged 3D platform with Astro.
You said give them budget.
Give them the budget. Give them the budget. I know how Sony's working. I know how Sony is right now. It's like it's gotta be a certain kind of game, and I don't know if Astro should be one of Sony's mascots.
I agree. They should call it the PlayStation platformer. And like I like Astrobot's Rescue because it had like all the homages to everything Sony. Call it PlayStation platformer.
If you play Astro's Playroom, it shows all the cool like products from their past, has fun little facts and details and stuff. It's a lot of fun. It's a great game to just kind of come with the PS5 that is legitimately one of the better 3D platforms out there right now. But we just need a whole new one, and I just wanted to have that mainstream appeal so that Sony looks at it and goes, all right, we got something here. Let's really push this thing going forward. I'm not saying it's ever going to be like their Mario or anything, but like it could be their really good platform. And I mean,
good luck with that happening, buddy.
Hey, they reformed it. That like Team Asobi, they gave them an entire studio. Maybe that's what they're working on.
All the really good developers said, I'm good. So I'm gonna go work somewhere else. I'm gonna do an indie thing. I mean, no, don't get me wrong. There's still some great developers there, but like they decline. I don't know what Sony's gonna give them. Honestly, like I want what you want, John, because like that Astrobot is awesome or whatever. Is it called?
Yeah, Astro's Playroom on the
Astro's
PS5.
Playroom. It's really good, but it's hard for me to trust Sony.
Astrobot's like the best game on the PSVR. That's like the best game.
Yeah, and then the Astro's Playroom is really cool too, as like a really cool tech demo. Yeah. So I mean, I'm down with the franchise. I think it's dope. It's just with Sony, I don't think Sony thinks much of it. Because they would have had something else by now. I mean, I know the PS5 still, but they gave Little Big Planet another game.
That was a mistake. Yeah.
And
if they're going to give them a game, they got to give Team Asobi a shot here. Okay.
Exactly. So I'm
give them more than two shoestrings. All right. Let's get something going here.
Yeah, it's good. It's so we'll see something. I mean, they're not doing it. They're not doing nothing. So I mean, we'll probably see something.
How much did Destruction All-Stars cost? I need to know.
Too much.
How many Astrobots did it cost?
Yeah. Oh God, that's the worst increment.
Oh gosh. Yeah. So I mean, I am hopeful that Team Asobi shows up something cool this year. I think Sony's gonna have a lot of reveals when they're ready to talk, and I think it's in like a couple of weeks. So I think they'll paint 2022 then, and I think it's gonna end up being a pretty good year for Sony. I'll be curious to see how they take care of their system sales. That's gonna be a big question mark right now, but hopefully they can get that figured out and get things back on track for just being able to produce these systems because people want them. So we'll see. And we got Discord questions over there.
With MLB The Show 21 being the first game on Xbox with the PlayStation Studios intro, what will be the first game on PlayStation with the Xbox Game Studios intro?
Minecraft.
Minecraft's already on there.
There you go.
Yeah.
All done.
They snuck it in.
Now, if from here on, it probably will be Call of Duty. Yeah, Sean's right. It'll be Warzone 2 technically when that drops, or Call of Duty in 2023 since the deal will be wrapped, but they're still under contract for it. Yep.
All right. With the announcement of Xbox buying Activision, do you think that will make it so that Activision Blizzard games will be playable on NVIDIA GeForce Now?
Ooh, that'd be an interesting thought.
That was a good question, actually. I am realizing now, though, that you just said that they're going to make a big push to get Call of Duty on xCloud or their Xbox game streaming, which means people on Call of Duty are going to get much worse because they're going to be playing through streaming. That game, like the quick reaction time with that game is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, it's Snap 2 targeting. It is probably
Yeah.
the closest you're going to get to being able to do it on streaming.
I don't know. I feel like they're gonna make a big push to get that on their streaming stuff. And I've been saying their big competition isn't necessarily Sony or Nintendo anymore. It is like all the other streaming services around them and big companies. I don't know. I'm thinking no, though. I think they're gonna hold it.
All right. Let's go with Dwayne Johnson said he's doing another video game movie, and it's one of the biggest, most badass games to the screen. Which one do you think it is? People have really been thinking it's like God of War or something like that, because Sony's been pushing some of their games for TV series and movies.
Donkey Kong.
I have a feeling it's gonna be something weird like Pitfall or something. One of those like
Pitfall,
old.
interesting.
I think it's gonna be one of those weird IPs you don't even consider
I mean, he
because
was in
those are the ones that are
Rampage.
cheap. Yeah, and that's my thought is that like he's gonna choose something weird that he can pour himself into and be Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
Yeah, it's his job to like hype it up, obviously. So whatever it is, it's amazing, you know. So
Could be
Street Fighter,
another-
that's interesting.
It could just be another Tekken moment. You never know.
I mean, it's his name is Dwayne the Rock Johnson. It's Dwayne the Rock Band Johnson, right? It has to be Rock Band the movie.
Man, the movie.
It's gotta be God of War. It's gotta be God. It's gotta be some bald guy. It's gotta be somebody bald and buff.
Someone said Gears.
MVG.
Gears of War has been coming up a lot.
Gears.
That'd be interesting.
Because there's been Batista has been apparently trying to say he wants to be in it, so that people have already been photoshopping both of them in the Gears armor, and that would work. I mean, they look great.
Wasn't there that one picture of Cavill on the set getting ready for Witcher, and there was like it looked like he was holding the script for Mass Effect?
Oh.
Yes.
Whoa.
Well,
wait a minute.
Yeah.
There's that, and then he said something.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
exactly 1 year, almost to the day. It was like 1 year to the week that he said, I'm a big fan of Witcher. I'd love to do that world. They announced that they'd already filmed it with him. And now he did the same thing of like, someday I would love to play Commander Shepard. And so people are like, oh my God, they're probably
Rock said that?
No,
Cavill.
Cavill.
Oh.
Yeah. So I think if they do a Mass Effect,
So
I think
Rock
it'd
would be a
interesting to see-
Cronin, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he'd be Rex the Rock
Imagine
Johnson.
like Rex or something. That'd be wild.
No, he would be that. No, he'd be that one guy from the guy that everybody hates in Mass Effect 3.
Oh yeah, I can't remember what the hell his name is.
The Marine, the really buff Marine.
Oh, James.
Yeah, I hate that guy, but
Same. I kill him.
Yeah.
I love him.
yeah, I can't stand, especially if you're FemShep, the way that he. Oh my God.
Yes.
just-
No, absolutely. I agree. Mm-hmm.
He's like, hey, top me, babe, please.
Hey Lola.
Yeah.
Hey Lola. Can I call you Lola? It's like no, you can't.
Yeah. Yeah. Cats are fighting.
We got another one, Evan.
Anyone looking forward to Cow the Kangaroo? I know
No.
Sean was talking about it there.
I saw that. I can't believe some of these games are coming back like that. That's funny.
It's all right.
You know what? I'll look into it just because they asked.
All right, let's see. Are we seeing a consolidation of companies in the games industry, or is it old companies that are long past their prime getting acquired for their intellectual properties?
I mean, Activision was looking to get acquired, but I think in this case, how much did people like Activision as it is?
Right.
I think they were just that.
like
Like, I don't think Square is running around looking to be purchased right now. I think they're good. They're like, we're fine. I do question Sega at times. Who knows? But I think for the most part, the majority of the companies are fine where they are. I think you have to find a very specific group of companies that are interested in being purchased in the first place. So a lot of these have all these deals and contracts in place now, and there's a lot of complications. Activision's just a very strange situation because of all this stuff that happened through PR and knocked their stock price down. And obviously, Kotick was looking for that golden parachute. So sounds like you got it. Got another one, Evan?
Yep. Do you find yourself trying to replay the original game before playing the sequel that comes out?
I do that because I for those who don't know, I review a lot of games. So usually what I'll do is before the follow-up comes out, I'll at least play through the first couple hours again. So like I'm about to do a bunch of stuff with Dying Light 2, so I'm replaying a bunch of Dying Light 1. Just
that's not a bad idea. I just replayed Horizon Zero Dawn. I just wrapped that again the other day. So I thought about Dying Light. I thought about going back to that again. But Dying Light 2 is out next week. So next week coming up.
Light
so
1, I think the first couple hours of Dying Light are really raw as well. That's kind of the problem, is that it's such a slow burn. There's like a forced 45-minute tutorial.
Yeah, so, I think I'm just ready to go back to the second one. I'm just kind of hanging out now, ready for it at this point.
I want to get into that. I want to get into that franchise. I haven't played Dying Light, but I want to get into it. So at some point, I know I want to play. But Horizon, I am replaying Horizon on the harder difficulty, and I'm really enjoying it. So I'm looking forward to playing the next one.
Okay. Have we got a Discord question there? And I'll go to Super Chats before you finish up the last topic. Okay, yeah, go through them.
What do you think the worst month/game was on PS Plus?
Oh, worst month. Oh, is it because the most recent one wasn't great? It was like UFC. Although then we saw games with gold, and whew, that was.
It's got
it was pretty bad.
December of last year has got to be the worst. Godfall.
The one with Godfall, yeah, that was bad.
Godfall Hero Edition, which turned out to be just like the ending of the game. It's like 5%.
Yeah, you skip the story and just play the dungeon crawling.
I like how they were like, "Don't worry about the story, just jump into this," and that's like the selling point. It's like, oh, I should skip the story then. Okay.
I just bought Godfall, baby.
Oh,
damn.
$17 on Amazon.
Hey, not bad. There you go, 17.
I don't know if I'll play it though. It's sealed up.
Okay.
I think it's underneath my couch. I think it's underneath my couch. I kicked it on accident.
Oh man, you didn't even think to get it.
It's been there for like a week. I haven't seen it since then.
Go ahead, Evan.
Oh, another one. I guess this is a what if question. What if for a special edition of the Spawncast, we all decide to take a break and have a bunch of the guests do an episode? Kind of who makes the cut.
I'm sure that wouldn't go off the rails at all.
Yeah, but who would make the cut? Who would definitely be in it? I imagine Jeff Grubb would definitely be in there.
I think it'd be fun to have Scott the Waz, Jeff Grubb, Brian Altano.
Yeah.
Like, let's get like the all-stars and just have them run it.
That would, I'd tune in for that.
Call it the No Spawncast.
There you go. I'll go through a few of these super chats. We'll finish up with our final topic since Sean is back now. And he cut the pizza.
No, this is pre-cut.
I kind of want to send you a pizza cutter.
You did. You still don't have a pizza cutter. That's right.
No, don't send him it. I sent him lotion and he still ain't use it. So.
I still have it. It's under my sink.
Sean, I just started using it. Let me tell you, it's great, brother. It's great.
This one's from Console Fanboy. It says, "Hi, Miss Click. My original song for you is premiering tomorrow at noon. Will you watch it?"
That's not creepy.
She's gone. Big guy.
Okay. Car says, "Anyone check out Abyss YouTube channel? Just past 31K speed run, scandals history. Have him on the Spawncast sometime. One of my favorite YouTubers."
Is that you? Is that you, Abyss, on a burner account?
This is from Collect saying, "Just wanted to say you guys are awesome. God bless you all. Greeting from Dubai." Thanks, Collects. Victor says, 21 hours into Pokemon Arceus, and I haven't gotten past the 8th mission. This style shouldn't be every Pokemon game, but it does the little things right. I Live for Retro says, "Hey, Spawncast, name one studio you would love to see come back to make one more game. My pick is Midway." A studio to come back to make one more game.
It's sort of a cheat code, but I would love, if I had a time machine, to bring late 90s Squaresoft to the modern day and see what they would make.
Interesting. Okay.
Xenoblade. No, late Squaresoft would be great, man. I think that'd be dope.
Okay.
Gears. How about another Xenogears?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Or Xenogears, like famously, they messed up the budget. That's why Disc 2 is pretty much just a movie. I would love to see Xenogears completed like it was originally intended.
Or if they ever took like Secret of Mana and thought about it seriously about making the franchise bigger, like as big as like Final Fantasy. If they ever did something like that, like that'd be cool. Like, oh, because that's how they thought about Secret of Mana when it first came out. They were thinking big things with it, but then it kind of, whatever. But
What about Treasure?
oh, that's a good one.
What'd you have make, Sean?
Mischief Makers 2.
Okay, I would check that out. Check that out.
Somebody to make a AAA Knights game, right? That's or Dreams. Yeah, let's do that.
That's Sonic Team.
Sin and Punishment, man. Like a really dope Sin and Punishment game.
Bring back
a new one.
Bring back Vicarious Visions. Have them make Tony Hawk Pro Skate or Underground 3. Get them out of Blizzard.
Stop it.
You just do the Underground collection and just have like all of them kind of mashed into one. All the places to go.
I think I don't know how they do Underground 2. There's so many likenesses, and oh my gosh, that is a nightmare. I'd rather just go make the new one or a new Tony Hawk game. We need some sort of redemption after Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5.
Ugh. I beat that game.
You got it.
Is that like the Proving Ground? Is that the same game or no?
No, Tony Hawk Pro
Hawk-
Skater 5 was its own thing.
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5 is technically like the 10th Pro Skater, which doesn't make sense number-wise. But the weirdest thing was that they made all this weird arcade stuff. There's low gravity physics. There's like a big head mode where you have to do tricks to shrink your. It's so terrible. It has a gigantic watch. There's like the name of some watch brand is giant across the entire top of the screen at all times because like Fossil Watch paid for part of the game.
The physics are all off in the game after what Vicarious did with 1 and 2. They give them the money. Let's get the new Tony Hawk Pro Skater game out there. Love to see it. Jeff says, imagine complaining about simple tutorials. At least they aren't dissertations like we see in Monster Hunter Rise. Well, the tutorials, I'm talking about Arceus. It's very quiet tutorials, very silent.
Right? They just give you your godly
lot of
cell
literacy
phone and
needed.
go figure it out.
Jake says, Fallout and Elder Scrolls did the Breath of the Wild moment first. Yeah, technically, when you open the vault or you step outside of the dungeon.
I mean, hell, even before that, Resistance 3 has that moment where you walk out of the subway and see the city on fire, and it is the exact same shot as Breath of the Wild, but 15 years before it.
Isn't Assassin's Creed kind of? Well, no, I guess it wasn't. Exactly
Assassin's Creed thing. I remember the big thing about that when it first came out was you jumping off of the ledge into the hay. That was a big deal. Then,
like, is what they called it at the time.
And then like you look everywhere. Like it shows you like, okay, whoa, look, you get to see everywhere. And that was 2007.
That was a big deal at that time. Yeah.
That was that like made Jade Raymond like famous like overnight. Everyone's like, oh, who's this? And she's pretty, but then also she makes this game. And then everyone's like, man, I said this is going to be the greatest thing ever. So
yeah, when they did that rotation of the camera around, that was a big deal to see like the entire city at once.
And that was on the PS3 back in 360 2007.
Cleo says finally beat Immortals Phoenix Rising after 7 months. Had fun playing it before the February
game.
Yeah, Tony says, when do you suspect CDPR makes an announcement about Cyberpunk's update? It's 1 month in the first quarter release promise.
They gave up.
Oh man,
there's something the files have been updated themselves. Have y'all seen that?
No.
Yeah,
there's like something on the back. It seems like they're preparing something. The Steam files are doing something weird. It seems like they're preparing for the patch. Actually,
when's The Witcher? I want to replay The Witcher when that gets its next gen thingy. When's that happening?
We don't know. Sometime this year. So
Wood got me to replay because like I talked to Wood recently and he was like, I love The Witcher. I was like, well, dude, I'll give it a chance again. I've tried it on 3 separate systems. I'll try it again on PS5 when that comes out.
Yep, when that next gen patch comes out, they should like frame rate, visuals, all that stuff should have a nice upgrade. Paleo says, I like how in Pokemon Legends that some of the NPCs are terrified of Pokemon. Like, why does this thing shoot electricity? That's dangerous. It is interesting to think that it's so unknown to them and they're just out there in like this wilderness trying to document these creatures that shoot fire. Yeah.
Let's be real. You guys would be scared of. I mean, what if there was actually Pokemon in real life?
Yeah,
that would be terrifying.
That would be pretty terrifying. Actually, have you seen those? What are the real life drawings of Pokemon that the person on Twitter does? It's crazy.
Oh yeah, his stuff is great.
Oh,
I mean, we think
Moto
about
Dragon's
it.
kind of a Pokemon.
The one?
It's just an
The
animal.
Komodo dragon, yeah.
That's kind of
I
a
guess, or
Pokemon.
like a platypus.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
They're all
Hippo.
animal. Pokemon are like animal. They're all animals.
Yeah, give those your fucking deer.
To say one
antlers.
animal is like a Pokemon means that all animals are like.
but they don't.
But
They
these
don't
things shoot
They
fire.
don't shoot fire and beams at you and
Right.
stuff. Though.
All because you
no-
don't
no
see it doesn't
shit.
mean it don't happen.
Imagine Sean getting giga impacted in the woods by like some bird, some big old huge bird comes down and giga impacts you. No, that doesn't happen.
Okay,
Thunderbird.
okay. Look, if there were Pokemon were real, okay, this is gonna be crazy aside. Terrorists would get them and be setting off like Voltorbs in major cities and shit. Look, I'm glad. I don't know why I'm going with this. Anyways, you guys have a great day. I would be the guy who stays in town and avoids those fucking Pokemon.
I hate to break the news, but even with the Activision acquisition, we will still never get a sequel to Gun.
Yeah, it's called
No,
Red
Gun-
Dead Redemption.
Gun was cool. I like to play. I like the Gun back. Yeah, I like the Gun back and the original Red Dead Revolver, the Red Dead games before the new ones. Those were great. I like those.
Oz says, does Arceus have any battling at all? Like, am I going to want to build a team, choose strategic moves, etc.? It does.
Yes.
It does have battling. Yep. And you don't have to forget your moves. You can just change them out. It's kind of nice.
And there's trainer battles too. So
Yep, there are. Yep. This is from Creo says, what I like about Pokemon Legends is that you can gather Pokemon and fight more than one in battle. I fought 4 Pokemon in battle at the same time. Let's see. Scott says, getting your whole squad out in Arceus makes for great photo ops. What's your favorite game to use photo mode? Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Spider-Man is pretty
I
awesome.
don't.
I was real obsessed with it, not photo mode, but in theater. I used to do it in Reach and Halo 3 a lot, where like I'd replay a multiplayer match, and when I'm like flipped over on fire, I'd take.
Yeah, you get in Halo 3 a lot too. There's a whole section on the community tab where people take all these pictures, and when you're waiting for your game to load, you can go in there and look at them. There's some pretty good ones.
I think Ghost of Tsushima was my favorite photo mode.
I had one. I don't know. I have to check because I know servers got turned on and off where I got hit with like 6 sniper bullets at the same time. They were crossing all through me, and I got this picture right at the same time.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know if that's still up though. That was back in the day before Halo Waypoint. They had like some called something else, but it was like that, except you could go on there and share all your stats and everything. It was pretty cool. Demolition says Legends should become the main line and build a stadium version for the PvP, free to play for breeding, training, and battling, connected to PK Home.
Oh my god,
that's not.
I
gonna
want
happen.
that. I want that more than anything in the world.
That's definitely that's called losing money.
Yeah, Yum says our strategy guide's good to collect nowadays. I like looking at the strategy guide sometimes, like depending on the game, just to see how they think you should be playing it. Because there's some odd things in some of the strategy guides when it comes to like their strategies. But I would get like the one for Oblivion was kind of cool because it's like an encyclopedia almost, and obviously people would collect the Pokemon and the Final Fantasy ones all the time.
I have a huge, like hundreds and hundreds of strategy guides, and some of them are terrible. Like the one for Legend of Dragoon will be like, go into the dungeon, solve the dungeon, leave the dungeon. It's like, it'll have like 3 pictures there. It's absolutely useless.
Rascal says, why is Zarita in Pokemon Legends cosplaying Miss Click?
Oh, what? Because she's a white blonde girl with blue eyes? Okay.
You know, real talk though, that the old lady, have you met the old lady who's like 99 in the cave?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think she looks like old Miss Click. Same sort of short bob hair, same sort of eyes. I saw that shit and I was like,
with
whoa.
a big leaf coming out of her back.
Yes.
Nothing tops that one demon from SMT5 that's literally misclick on it. Like, it's literally exactly like her. So yes, I know the Iridia girl, but check out the demon, the SMT DLC demon. It's like Zeus's daughter or something like that, or whatever's daughter. She looks just like her.
I appreciate the compliments, but I swear, anytime there's a white girl with blue eyes and blonde hair that's somewhat short, it's me. I appreciate it, but like,
I mean, to be fair, the girl in Loki did look exactly like you.
no, she
Yeah, she kind of did, just older. But hey, look, I've been getting called Barrett for like decades now, so you're gonna go through the same thing that I go through now. So
God, man. Like,
there's apparently an ad. People keep sending it to me where it's like it's Papa John's or it's Little Caesars or something, and it says Kevin's getting a pizza tonight. Are you? And the guy looks like my twin brother, and everyone always sends it to me like, "Oh, you having pizza again?" I'm like, "Stop sending this."
I have not seen this.
I'm gonna find it real quick. Yeah, people send it to me all the time.
Put it in the Discord.
Hellman says, I've never played a Pokemon game. I thought it was for little kids when it came to N64. Would this be a good first Pokemon game to try out? I would say yes.
I'd say yeah.
The jumping on point.
This is from Braden saying, you guys see the crazy stuff in Canada? I have not.
I haven't.
I have not.
Fucking Canada.
What's going on in Canada?
No.
Canadian.
What's not?
Paleo says, I swear, Jordan, if they stop making Pokemon generations and they only make new forms, and I never get a dolphin Pokemon, I'm coming for you.
Oh.
It is my fault. Yeah.
Waluigi says, thoughts on Crisis 4? I'm excited to talk more about it when they show it.
Yeah, there's not much to say.
It's great that they're going to be able to do it. I'm curious if they're self-publishing that, though. That'll be interesting, or if they're partnering and getting money from one of the big three or something. So we'll see. Ridiculous says, wrong answers only. What happened to Silk Song?
Hey, you know.
Yeah, it has been a while. I thought the game would have been out by now. So but maybe there's a lot more to that game than we know.
Platinum Games took it over. Don't worry, they'll be announcing it soon.
Kickstarter starting soon. Let's go.
Yep.
There we go. Brandon says, why the heck is RGT wearing a bucket hat?
Why aren't you?
He borrowed it from my closet to parody MVG.
Ragnarok says, happy with Pokemon Legends Arceus so far, and yes, getting Pokemon Mystery Dungeon vibes, which in my opinion have had the best stories. Hope they remake Mystery Dungeon Sky.
Yep.
I don't think we need another one of those Mystery Dungeons.
No, we do. Shut your mouth.
Joe says, got my booster shot recently. Just want to say thank you all for this amazing show, helping me get through these side effects. Richard with the thumbs up. Thank you, Richard. Fish Fan says, RGT, with this week's weather, were there any good food deliveries and which service was the best? Also, how's Gma doing with this nor'easter?
So my mom was like, yo, you need to text your grandma, tell her and grandpa to come stay with you just in case, because they live in a town that's kind of older. Like you can't really get high speed internet there where they live in that part of town. So like it's a little bit of an older town. They've lived there for 50 years. And she was like, you need to text them and tell them to come stay with you for the storm because they might lose power. I was like, they're not going to fucking come. And she was like, no, you need to do it. So I texted her. I was like, yo, you know, why don't y'all come stay here? You know, whatever. And she's like, oh, what's wrong with you? I'm not going to do that. Blah, blah, blah. And she got like mad at me that I offered that. And I was like, what the fuck ever. But they didn't lose power. I texted her a little bit ago.
But you have all the arcades and games. You have an entire arcade room. They don't want to come over.
I mean, they've been over before, but I don't know. They didn't want to stay over and intrude, I guess. But yeah, I didn't see her this week. I ordered a bunch of Subway subs when I realized the storm was going to be worse than I thought it was. So I ate those. I got 2 chicken teriyakis and then Italian BMT.
How much snow did you guys get there?
We got like probably 8 or 9 inches.
I think we had like 4 inches or 5 inches here, so it wasn't terrible.
Yeah,
like main roads are still pretty borked right now. So
Yeah,
they got the stuff plowed pretty well here.
Yeah,
Like,
I live
the
on a
roads are
back road. That was
fine.
clear this morning.
Yeah, we're fine over here.
It's a
I
struggle.
don't know how you snow dudes do this stuff, man.
Yeah.
I can't.
Not bad.
I mean, I pay a
did some
homeowner's
sledding too.
association fee, so I look out my window and watch people clean the area. I'm like, better you than me.
Wait, I just realized something. Have Click and OJ, have you guys ever been sledding before?
Sledding?
Sledding.
Sledding?
I-
Do you
Yeah.
mean like
I've never
actually
been sledding.
or do you mean like in a car experiencing black ice?
No, like you get a piece of a piece of plastic or
cardboard, it
back
works.
in the day, like a trash can lid, and you would
Trash can
sled
lid,
down
yeah.
the.
Oh, you mean like a
you
core
sled down the hill.
memory? No,
You've never
absolutely not.
You've never done that before at all.
I've
Well,
done
like-
skateboard and
snowboarding. I've done snowboarding before. Because there is snow. Like if I drive 45 minutes to the mountains, there's snow over there, but nobody wants to go over there. Like so, at least nobody here wants to go over there.
I always wanted to go snowboarding or skiing, but like in Florida, it's like a sign of privilege if any time as a kid or as an adult you mentioned going skiing or snowboarding as a kid, you were considered rich because it's like you have to like go out of state and
because
like,
you left Florida.
Yeah, you have to like
made it.
leave,
You did it.
Yeah,
I was gonna say,
anytime someone's like, I was a poor child, it's like, bro, you went skiing like 3 times a year with your family on family vacations. First off, you went on vacation, so no, I've never been, but I would really like to learn snowboarding. I always wanted to learn snowboarding.
I could never afford it nobody when I was younger took me that. I was working at a certain job and like we had like a little retreat thingy, and that's when I went snowboarding for the first time. Like it was decades after. It wasn't when I was younger or anything. It snowed one time here in the Central Valley in 1999. And they canceled everything, and I remember just playing outside, throwing snowballs and stuff, and that was about the extent of my snow experience.
Sledding's great.
There was a time where we took a trip we drove to New Mexico because I'm in Dallas, Texas. We drove to New Mexico for it was some Christmas. We decided to drive up there, and while we were there, it was really snowy in one area. So we just hopped out of the car and picked up trash can lids and started sliding on them. And somebody came out of their house and went, "Are y'all from Texas? What are y'all doing?" And we're like, "Yes, we are from Texas." Like, we're just trying to snowboard a tiny bit or sled a tiny bit. It was really fun.
I didn't do that. You never thrown a snowball at somebody? Man.
I've done that once and it sucks. I don't know why everybody hypes that up. It was terrible.
It was fun. We were all chucking it. We were
what?
It was great.
I remember I've only been snowboarding one time because me and my dad, we went to the mountains when I lived in North Carolina. And I remember I had my GameCube screen that was like the portable GameCube screen. So like the whole time I was just playing Tony Hawk on the drive there because it was like 3 or 4 hours. And then we got there and he was like, "Do you want to take a lesson?" I was like, "I don't know, I guess." And so I remember I had like this total, he kind of remember Tony from Seinfeld, the Mimbo, the male bimbo, that Elaine was dating. He was totally like him. Like he looked like him, and the long hair. He's like, "All right, bro, here's what you need to do. Just need to remember 2 different things. You got your heel side and your toe side. Heel side and your toe side." I was like, "Okay, I'm good on this. I can figure it out." And I remember I was going down, like I was just on like the little training hill, and I looked and my dad, oh no, reverse it. Sorry. I'm going up the ski lift and my dad is coming down and he's skiing. I'm like, "Asshole!" And he looked up and then he kind of like tripped and he fell and I laughed really hard. And then I remember we went to dinner and he had too many glasses of wine and he spilled wine all over this lady's like white sweater. It was really fucking funny. Yeah, snowboarding's dope though. That was fun.
So you didn't snowboard in any of that story?
No, like I did. It was easy for me because I was skateboarding so much. So once you just learn how to, I guess the heel side and toe side stuff, it's very easy for me.
It looks hard. I don't know. I've never done it. I'm probably never gonna do it.
Okay. This is from Alchemist saying, So happy Ocarina of Time is finally playable in terms of input lag, and Banjo-Kazooie was a nice addition to the N64 online service. What game do you want the most for the service?
GoldenEye.
I mean, that'd be pretty cool to have that online and like decent frame rate and all that. Sounds like it might happen. Might be coming. Mr. says, "Hi, Spawncast. I'm so happy for Forbidden West. I bought the Regalia edition. Which collector's editions do y'all own, and which one is your favorite?" My favorite is probably always going to be the Halo 3 helmet one that they came out with. I thought that was awesome back in the day.
I would say Death Stranding because of the baby in a jar and it freaks people out. And the limited edition Night Trap is actually really cool because it comes with a VHS tape of all of the video footage from the game.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I'm secretly very obsessed with the Gears of War series. I even read all the Gears of War books and the Gears of War comic. And I did all that before I pre-ordered the Gears of War 3 Ultimate Edition. And it actually has a flag for the COG people. And interesting, it has all these like research notes. Part of Gears of War 3's story is trying to find all this research. Well, they gave you an actual physical copy of all these like fake science documents for the Hammer of Dawn and the Locust Experiments that looks so real. I love that collector's edition.
I bought Jump Force for $250.
You're a dumb bitch.
That was a solid pickup for you, man.
What about Panty Party?
We don't talk about that.
I sniffed it once and threw it away. It just knew it was too.
It's literally still in the plastic.
Omni says, for some reason, we're getting a Batman and FaZe Clan crossover comic. So when is the Spawncast going to get a comic? Who do you team up with? And does anyone want to set what power? Oh, say what powers they'd have.
It's going to be a Blue Beetle comic, and I can teleport, but only 5 feet away.
And you don't get to choose
comic
where.
book characters. I got like big titties or a big ass because that's going to be my partner. And then my special ability will be
getting HR.
Just say X-ray vision. Just do it.
I was gonna say an immunity to venereal diseases.
The uncancelable.
Still alive says, do you guys think there'll be a Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster collection for the consoles after 6 finally releases? I do. Sounds like that's gonna happen. Pizza says, would be cool to see Square Enix do something with Dirge of Cerberus. That'd be kind of cool. Why not?
They are right with that mobile crap that they're doing. That's got to be fit in there somewhere, right?
It is. They showed it on the thing, but who knows how long it'll take to get there.
Flying says solution for sticky buttons on an Astro C40. Oh, those controllers that's the controller's modular, and you can open it up and everything for the buttons and change stuff out. You'd have to. That's actually a really annoying one to open. I opened one up and it was a pain because you have to get underneath of it to where the springs are you're pressing down, or like the membrane part. You'd have to disassemble it though and clean it with some kind of rubbing alcohol or soap and water. Sounds like there might be something stuck in there. J2 Blue says, Somniac usually makes a game every year. Do you think a Sunset Overdrive remastered could be this year? That wouldn't shock me, actually, if they did that.
Yeah.
So, and then the fact that they're working on a couple of projects now that are a little further out, a remaster might not be a bad idea for them. Juan says, hey, how y'all doing tonight? I do got a question about PlayStation. My 2 small gameplay from Project Eve. Yes or no for the PlayStation 4 and 5? Project Eve.
I think he's asking if they're going to show off Project Eve soon or something like that.
I mean, I would assume that's going to be part of their. I was trying to figure out if they're going to do a state of play or a PlayStation experience. They would have a lot to show off if it was a state of play.
That game looks cool.
It looks good from what they were showing. They say for a no for the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5.
It's PS4, PS5, right? I think it's on Xbox too.
That cross-gen, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's on Xbox.
Yeah, we need to see a bit more about it, but from what they showed off, it looked great. So I'm interested in that one. Matthew says Bandai needs to talk with Nintendo and Intelligent Systems to get a Dragon Ball turn-based strategy made. I'd be on board with that.
Right?
Dragon Ball turn-based strategy RPG.
Dragon Ball turn-based.
Let's go.
Hell yeah, baby.
Yeah, we have
what was
Attack of the Saiyans did it was really good. That was from Monolith Soft.
That's the best Dragon Ball Z game ever.
Only problem is the game is extremely expensive now.
When I think of Dragon Ball, it's hard to imagine turn-based, but I guess if you just have them yelling the entire time you're taking your turns, maybe that could work.
It's just like the game's really fast-paced on the DS. Like you quickly pick stuff, they just jump in there, beat the crap out of it, and then jump back. It seems like it wouldn't work, but it works.
Okay.
Let's talk about Metroid Prime 4 real quick. Sean, you did a video on it.
Yeah.
Explain to me your concerns with Metroid Prime.
I think it's not even necessarily about. I saw a lot of discussion online. It's not in development hell. I mean, it kind of is. If you look at the grand scheme of things, not necessarily just from when Retro took over the game, but the game itself from being announced till now, it's been 5 years. You haven't seen a screenshot. You haven't seen a video. You haven't gotten any real sort of update on this game because 3 years ago, they announced that the game was shifting from another studio to Retro Studios. So to me, the whole arc of the game, Metroid Prime 4, obviously there's some sort of issue with it. You know, whether that was they didn't like the vision of Bandai Namco, that's fine. Bandai Namco was allegedly the company that was doing it. That's fine. But obviously there was something wrong. So then he had to restart the cycle. Retro Studios is a really good studio. I don't think these hirings or whatever have like a big impact on it. That was some people's
tools engineer and technology engineer real quick.
Right. But I mean, there's actually a lot more job openings on their website as well. Some people ran with that angle, saying that the game was in trouble because they're still hiring for people. I don't necessarily think that. I talked about it briefly in my video. To me, it's just more of the fact that Retro Studios hasn't made a new fucking game in 8 years. Mm-hmm. Period. Point blank. The last game they made was Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze.
They ported that to the Switch. They ported that to the Switch as well.
That doesn't. Yeah. But that doesn't count as a new game. They added in.
No, it's not a new game.
They haven't made a game. they haven't made a game in 8 years, and it's like when I sit there and think of it, it's like, well, how is this company sustainable? You know, if you don't work for 8 years, you're not making money. So how is this company making money? I'm assuming they're getting contracts from Nintendo themselves to work on things like Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, but I just don't know. I find it concerning that it's just been radio silence for 3 years. And I know Nintendo's a company that usually doesn't like to show their hand and talk about a bigger game because of the fact that, you know, they like to have like a 6 months to a year release from when they first show it. Obviously, there are exceptions to that rule. But I don't know, just something about this feels off. And it probably isn't, but in just my opinion, something about it feels off.
You know what wouldn't shock me is if we find out that Retro Studios was doing support on a bunch of games that aren't even announced yet. But it wouldn't shock me if Mario Kart 9 came out and like people from Retro Studios are in like the credits or something, just as an example. Something like that could happen. But I think there are games that just don't come out of Retro Studios. Like I feel like they just get games canceled. You just don't find out about them.
I feel what Sean is saying. Although I think with this era, people, if you don't see anything, people automatically say there's something wrong. And we've seen kind of time and time again that's like not the case with games like SMT5. I had 1 million people tell me that the game's canceled. You know, and they don't know what they're doing. They haven't made a game in a long time. It was almost that SMT team hadn't made a new game or anything since 2013. You know, and they made some other stuff. They helped out and things, but they hadn't had a new one since SMT4 and SMT4 Final, which was a couple years later, but that was like the same thing on the 3DS. Same thing like Bayonetta. Everyone said Bayonetta's canceled or it's done or there's a problem, and the game looks pretty cool. So I think that it takes a long time to make games and they just don't want to show anything. I think they could, but they showed something too early. You know, like before, like we got a JPEG or whatever, right? So I think they want to wait till it's actually ready. What the hell is they want to wait till it's actually ready and then show it off. And on top of that, they've also stated that, hey, we're still working on it. So they did say like at a direct saying, like I think when Dread was announced, or I know that, and during the direct they did say, hey, we're still working on Metroid Prime 4. You know, don't worry about it, but we have this instead. So I feel what Sean is saying, but at the same time, I think that sometimes it's just when it's ready to be shown and you can give like a release date, that might be like the best time to reveal it, you know?
I would rather wonder about something and like kind of have it be in the dark for a long time versus getting something that doesn't look ready to show at all and then be worried about it. You know what I mean? Like physically have something to worry about. I don't know.
I think I do think that Nintendo attempted to make a first-person shooter and it didn't work. So it was a very strange miscalculation on their part to not just give it to Retro Studios in the first place.
It could be multiple things too. Maybe they tried going a different route. Maybe they tried being more narrative or something, and they just feel like it wasn't working. I mean, Metroid, in a way, you know, kind of is under a microscope in many different ways for how they handle their characters and their stories.
Yeah. But Nintendo's never really been able to make a first-person shooter. So that's like their one weakness. So,
and we also said Zelda couldn't really be open world, you know, so.
Yeah, that's true. But they tried to make I'll say this, they tried to make a first-person shooter and it did not work. So I want to see that prototype though. I want to see it.
Yeah, me too.
I wanted to see what was so disastrous that they tried to put it together and it broke. Like I got to see. Something must have been really bad or wrong for them to just cancel it.
It could have been as something as the creator himself, you know, it was just like, no. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it should have gone to Retro in the first place, but apparently they're working on this Metroid Prime remaster that we're going to see soonish. A couple months. Maybe the next direct, we'll see.
So is the AC trilogy, is that not a thing anymore?
Metroid Prime trilogy?
Yeah, remember that?
I don't know. I wouldn't be shocked if they did something with 2 and 3 tacked on or something like that. But
it's like the Master Chief Collection, you know, where it's like the first one gets remade.
Yeah.
OG.
It sounds like they just did like a remaster remake on the first one, and who knows what they do with 2 and 3. Maybe they just tack it on, and it's like, hey, you get all 3. Because I will admit, it is going to be strange when Nintendo shows up and is like, here's Metroid Prime 1, and it's full price. That's gonna be a whole thing online.
I mean, it depends on how good it looks. I mean, if it looks like really high quality remaster,
could be new content even in there.
Yeah, new content. Or I mean, they'd have to change up the game, like those loading screen doors. Obviously, they'd have to do something with that, you know, and make it more seamless. I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff that they can do. I did a poll on my channel, and like everyone's like Metroid Prime is their favorite, the original Metroid Prime. Like it won by like landslide.
Oh sure, yeah,
you know?
definitely is.
Easily. Yeah.
Definitely is. Yeah. So I mean, I like obviously a lot of Metroid fans will pick it up when it gets revealed and dropped and all of that. But I'll be curious to see if they do anything different with it to try to tie it more into Metroid Prime 4.
Well, I think also they don't want to make probably the same thing that is with Bayonetta. You know, we got 1 and 2 released years ago, and 3 just now got teased, you know? So it's like, I think it would make more sense if they kind of hype up Prime 4, but lead the trailblazing, you know, way with the
4 years ago with those.
Man, they really thought they had something Metroid Prime 4. They really thought they had it. Like they showed the logo and everything at E3. People got hyped.
Well, I mean, we got Bayonetta 2 on the Wii U quicker than, I mean, less time ago than we got Metroid Prime 3.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. We got, and Platinum Games, of course, have made other stuff in between.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's just, I understand your concern.
Bayonetta is also
get what
much
Retro
shorter.
does.
It is just a much shorter game, though. In total, like Bayonetta can be done in like 1 stream for me. So.
Yeah.
I mean,
We'll
Prime-
see. We'll see when it gets shown. Maybe this. I don't know. I don't even know if they're going to show Prime 4 this year. That might end up being a cross-gen game. I'll be real. That might be something.
I think it might
I'd be
be.
okay with it. That's okay with me.
I want it when it's ready. I don't want it when people just say, when it's ready to go, bring out the game. Like same thing with Bayonetta 3. I was like, people say, oh no, we need it. And I'm like, dude, listen, when it's ready, when you saw it, it was dope. You have 3, you know, you have the demon slave mechanic where you just have these big old demons that are fighting all at the same time. Like when it's ready, they'll show it. So that's kind of how I feel.
It is strange though,
Metroid.
because usually it will look towards like company like Sony will do it, Square will do it at times, Microsoft will do it. Like, oh, this game will be out 3 or 4 years. Nintendo's like the most like guilty of that now because Prime 4 is probably going to be sitting on the shelf for another 2 or 3 years. Will that be a 7-year cycle? It might be. That might be. Man, that's gonna be hanging over them for a while. So hopefully it's good. Hopefully it's good. Expectations to be high.
Just gonna have to buy
5
Dread.
years at E3. It's 5 years at
Or
it's 5
Metroid
years
Prime
from-
Remaster. That'll be good. Evan, we got Discord questions there. We'll finish up with those and some of these super chats, and I'll check out the Streamlabs too.
3 more. What is your dream acquisition for one of the platform holders?
Dream acquisition?
Yeah, I guess.
Nintendo, Konami.
Someone's got to buy Konami. Someone's got to buy
Yeah.
Konami.
Anybody,
I don't care who. Someone has
Anybody
to buy them.
Konami. I don't care who it can be. Spawn Wave, Konami. It can be
Let's do it.
anybody Konami.
I'll call the bank. Let's make it happen. Bringing them in.
All right. What game impressed you by providing an incredible amount of content, even if the game itself wasn't one of your favorites?
Incredible amount of content.
Just tons of stuff going on.
I mean,
there.
I kind of feel that way about pretty much all the Xenoblade games. Is that I think they're fun and I like them, but it's mostly just the size of it that gets me so hooked. Because it's like to me they're 8.5, 8
That's true.
out of 10 games, but 200 hours at 8 out of 10 is a big ass buffet.
Yeah.
I would say Astral Chain, like one of my favorite like system of combats ever. I just went back to the end game after like a year the other day, and I made that mistake. But the combat is just so cathartic. It's so much fun. But as far as like the story and the rest of the game, it's just kind of mid because it's platinum.
I feel like it was weird that they just threw out the detective mecanic about halfway through. They're like, fuck
Yeah.
that. No one likes that.
Yeah, but the combat itself is just like, oh my god. Like the end game, I was like, how was I comfortable with this? Like I was just so muscle memory, but it's so rewarding once you get it down. I don't think I have enjoyed combat probably more than Astral Chain itself.
I'm going to say the game that surprised me the most is Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, because that game. Think about the size of that game.
That was ridiculous.
Think about the size of that game just in your mind. You're like, all right, you start off, you got this world that you walk around, and you got 3 dungeons. Then you kick to the dark world. Then you got 7, and then the end boss and all this. That game is 1 megabyte in size.
Yeah.
Crazy.
In a similar fashion.
Think about that, and then realize it's 1 megabyte the entire game.
In a similar fashion, the first Wild Arms, because I was only on 1 disc, and you play through this massive story that leads to what feels like a final boss fight, and then you have almost twice that amount of time left after it. That just kind of blows you away later on by doing like a whole time skip thing. It was crazy.
Yeah, but that always. What's that?
Symphony of the Night.
Symphony of the Night. All right. Yeah, that's what always blew me away is that it's like this game is like tiny by today's standards, and it had that much content in it, which was really cool.
I always, that's the quote I see people say is the biggest Super Nintendo games are smaller than a Google logo. Most Google logos are like 1 gig, and like every Super Nintendo game was just megabytes.
Yep, there are certain Final Fantasy games that are 4 times this file size of on the same platform as Link to the Past.
For me, it was like Pokemon. Like back when Pokemon first came out, the gameplay wasn't better than like Chrono Trigger and other stuff that had been out. But how did they get all of that crap on that little cartridge, you know? So with the content in there. So for me, like the original Pokemon game. And Gold and Silver was like nuts. Like how, you know? Like
they got a lot out of those older cartridges and games and stuff, just because they had to try to fit like all these big ideas on these cartridges, like tiny chips now compared to what we have. It's interesting stuff to think about. You got another one there, Evan?
Last one. PS4 launched the PlayStation brand to new heights, but do you think a big factor was because of 2 of the big 3 flopping around that same part of the generation?
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough because the Xbox was $500 with a Kinect and it was weaker, and the PS4 just...
I'm not sure I agree with it launched it to new heights. The PS2 was on a whole different level compared to the Xbox and GameCube even then. So
yeah, but the PS3 was not great. Well, it hurt them bad.
It launched it to new heights when it didn't sell as much as the PS2, and the PS1 sold 100 million.
I think what the guy is trying to say is how it was interesting that Microsoft nosedived right before the PlayStation 4 came out. Like that whole like deal with it campaign and just telling you straight up that it's going to be always online, and if you don't like it, go fuck yourself, and if you don't like it, you know, I like buy an Xbox 360. There was a lot of stuff that Microsoft just said in a bad way that I felt like just pumped up those early PlayStation 4
I think
numbers.
the PS4 probably set them up pretty well for the Western audience as well. I mean, it sold the most software out of any PlayStation console. It was the PS4. And it also really brought the online ecosystem to them as well. That's where they're generating most of their money. So I guess you could look at it that way, because the PS2 didn't do anything for that, but it was the most successful in terms of number of systems sold. The biggest thing the PS2 had going for it is it was a DVD player too. And that I know people at the time who bought it as a DVD player first and then a game console second.
Because it was cheaper than a ton of DVD players that were available.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at it in that way, I just thought that the PlayStation brand had already been launched since the PS1, because they sold, like I said, they sold 100 million of those PS1s. They sold 150, the best selling system of all time. You know, I mean, yeah, PS3 had a little bit of a downturn, but Sony has never sold anything under 85 million.
I think the PS4 the PS4 has made them the most money, I would say.
Yeah, okay, because of the online, and I get that, but I thought that Sony was already there, in my opinion, at least, based off the PS1 and the PS2 they were the top. Nobody beat them in those eras, you know.
Yep.
Like PS3, they went down a little bit, obviously, you know, second place or whatever. But to me, I always saw Sony as they have the most dedicated base of people that will always buy their system. They've never sold under 85 million in any main system. That is
correct.
Incredible, you know? So I always saw them that high up there with everything.
And this is from Yum saying, I need Mega Man Battle Network collection on Switch. That'd be pretty cool actually to get that. And this is from Jalen saying, not gonna lie, having no voice acting in Pokemon Legends Arceus is kind of annoying me, but it's still a fun game overall. Team Rowlet.
Team Rowlet. Woo!
Truly Epic says MVG has to play Death's Door now that it's on Xbox Game. Everyone has to play Death's Door. Death's Door is very good.
I want to. It's on my list.
Very good game. Play it. Sean, play it. It's on Game Pass. What? That's good. This is from Wrestling Geek saying, what are your thoughts on From Software seemingly saying Elden Ring is easier than the Souls series? Do you think they're giving into the mainstream?
Yes.
No. Do you think so? I don't. I mean, honestly, if the game's enjoyable, who cares if it's like really
you pause the game? Is there a pause button confirmed?
No, there's not. So I've played a bunch of Elden Ring. The whole thing is that I feel like it's not easier. It's more mobile. You can run easier. You have a straight up jump button, and you have this magic ring that lets you instantly summon a horse. So when you get into bad situations, you just go peace, and you can run away. Cool. So it's not that things do less damage. Everything still can blow you up. There's a dragon that hunts you if you go to this part of the woods too early and stuff. It's great. It's just that you can escape easier.
This is actually with that. Banana asks, what's going to be your first Elden Ring build? Max, you already playing. What's going to be your first build?
Banana ass. I thought you just called him banana ass.
It looks like magic is overpowered in Elden Ring, so I think everybody's going to be doing mage builds. I think I'm going to do a melee longsword build early on, just to try out a harder build first.
Oh, the real gamer strat.
I'm going with the banana ass class. That's what I'm going.
Let me go around here as I finish some of these up. Sean, where can everyone find you?
Find me on RGT85. Watch my Pokemon video. Watch my Metroid video. Watch tomorrow's video. That'll be fun. I have to go to bed early though because I haven't filmed it yet. But I'll wake up and film it in the morning. But it'll be good. It's a cool little video. The end.
Okay. Go Sniper. Hyperscape got canned. Was my favorite game of all time. Really?
Hey, Click, you want to talk about that? Click. You trying to shill us this game?
I did not get paid for that game. I got a beanie.
A beanie?
But, in all honesty, and we were just talking about, because someone asked me in chat yesterday, or was it today? My mod and I, we were both talking about, it's our favorite battle royale ever, hands down. The fastest battle royale, most smooth. The gameplay was incredibly fun. However, when we were asking them questions as a community, they wanted it to be close knit with us creators. The thing is, they would ask us what we wanted changed or kept the same, and they just wouldn't listen to it. And then on top of that, it's like, oh, like, hey, is there going to be lore? Is there going to be all this? And they'll be like, we're thinking about doing it later, adding it in later. And it's like, you don't have later. You have to do this now. You have to have everything complete and ready to go. Also, some of the community managers and stuff were super like weird and self-righteous, but whatever. And then also, what was the other thing too? Like, they just didn't advocate like the replayability of it. Like the huge percentage of it dropped off right at the beginning. I enjoyed it. I made lots of friends through it. We're still friends to this day, and we've gone to other games. It was a solid base, but they had nothing beyond the current present. It kind of felt like when Mixer just bought those streamers to try to fix everything else. It was like, okay, we have all these streamers interested in it. And that's it.
That's it.
But I love the battle royale. So yeah, I am sad, but also at the same time, there was a lot of things that they could have avoided in order to make the game successful. And it's okay to pull from other formulas. They just didn't, because I don't know why. It felt forced.
It's from Ross saying, for Jeff Grubb in the chat, Blue Point news this year. See if Jeff Grubb answers that. Wishbone says Spartan console teams up with SNK, calling it now. There we go, Sean. They're in. Let's go. And then, Console Fanboy wants you to watch an original song they wrote. Click, just a heads up. They put it here multiple times.
Song?
There you go.
Oh yeah.
Original song.
You
I got you, Console Fanboy.
said something. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm helping my mom move, but I'll give it a listen when I can. So
there you
thanks.
go, Console Fanboy. Got you covered there. All right. Let's go to Click. Click, where can everyone find you?
Yeah, you guys can find me here on YouTube as Misclick Gaming. I also have Misclick Archives out, and the Misclick Shorts channels are now out with content. I'm excited though, because for the Archives channel, they'll be the first Pokemon will be uploaded, so it'll be the first current game that'll be up on that channel. So if you're interested in the Pokemon playthroughs, that'll be up. My Halo playthroughs are also up.
Where's the
there too.
Halo video of Sean screaming over and over again that somebody drive by teabagged him?
Oh my god, bro! There's my editor was having so many clips. I had another one of my editors like I'll have to show you, Sean, later, of one of your rants that I didn't want to post for your sake, but I'll have to send it to you. But yeah, you can all catch that out. No, on Misclick Archives.
Sean's gonna test it. He's gonna test the internet.
You can do with it what you want. But other than that, you can catch me live. We'll be playing Pokemon, and then we'll also be starting and finishing Halo 4, and then we'll watch through 5 since I don't have an Xbox, and then we'll do Infinite. So we're kind of playing multiple things at the same time. But I'm having a lot of fun hanging out with you guys. There's been so many of you showing up. It's been a blast. But you can find me on Twitch as well. And then
you should post it. You should post it as a shorts on your channel, Sean, and try that out.
No, I'll never do shorts.
Never do shorts.
Never.
Man.
I don't like them. You don't even if the shit goes viral, you don't make any fucking money on it. So what's the point?
You need like a completely separate channel because it messes with the algorithm.
Some of those are really funny though. Like some of those clips, right?
Don't do anything outside of what you normally do.
Yeah,
I got a formula. It works. It pays my bills. We're good.
If they ever fix it, because like live streaming jacks up my channel, but I still have to do it. So like, don't ever do anything outside of just whatever you do works. You know?
Let's go to OJ. Where can everyone find you?
at Shorts. Not at Shorts. I'll tell you that right now. No, I'm just joking. Player Essence here. I got some cool videos dropping tomorrow. Got a cool little video dropping with another content creator, so that should be fun. So yeah, check that out. Did a video on Pokemons, did all that. So check out those videos. And next week we are going to have some streaming as well. So I stream 6 days out of the week, new videos every single day. So you guys check out the channel if you're into RPGs, Nintendo, and yeah, anime stuff. So there you go. Shout outs. Thanks for having me on once again.
Max, where can I find you, dude?
YouTube.com/Dreamcast guy. I put up 2 videos yesterday. I checked out the PlayStation 5 version of the new Uncharted collection, and also a video called I Can't Hate Pokemon Arceus, because I did not like the last couple of Pokemons, but holy crap, do I love that. Channel's been exploding lately, and I see the amount of people that say I'm here from the Spawncast, so just wanted to thank everybody. Y'all rock. Thanks for all the support.
Okay, and then Jordan?
Yeah, you can find me on Jordan Fringe. I have an interesting video coming out tomorrow that's different from the norm, but it's pretty interesting if you like the Shonen Jump magazine from back in the day with manga and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, thanks for having me.
And Evan, what about you? Where can I find you?
Find me on Twitter, Kimmerix Project. Normally, if I'm streaming or doing anything, it'll get posted up there. We'll probably start doing kind of like a midday art stream coming up because I'm still working on getting some hardware together at another location I might be doing it at. Could be fun.
Okay. I was trying to look on Streamlabs, see if there's any messages.
Oh, yeah, someone said like an hour and a half ago that the Streamlabs shit was messed up.
Oh, that would make sense. Okay. That's fine. I will work on that for next week because I'm in here in Streamlabs. I'm like, I don't see
Streamlabs borked for me earlier in the week too, so you probably had the same thing I did.
Okay, I'll look into that this week then and try to get it set up for next week. Gotcha. Okay, I think that's gonna do it for Spawncast. Thanks everyone for joining us. We'll be back next Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time. We'll see you guys then.
Think for yourself for a question.